Introducing PubCoin. PubCoin is the rewards program for pub sports contributors. Regular chat contributors share their play of the day, POD, in the YouTube chat, including the phrase POD in their message. At the end of the week, the amount of units earned are converted into PubCoins. PubCoin can be used as reward points for prizes, shop discounts, and contests.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Millz here, Pub Sports Radio. Do you guys want to challenge the personalities here at Pub Sports Radio? Do you guys think you're better than them at entering in your MMA predictions and picks? Would you want to get paid for it? $100? Here's how you do it, man. You sign up right here at the link below. It's just this easy. PubSportsRadio.com. Enter your email. Pick your weekly picks. That's it. Oh, and you get bonus points if you can predict how they're going to win in what round. Every single week, a new winner's getting crowned. So every Saturday on Pub Sports Radio. So come on and check us out. You can win $100 just for signing up. Only thing you need to do is see if you can beat us here at Pub Sports Radio by entering your UFC predictions and picks weekly. Do it. I dare you. See you guys soon.
Upgrade your membership to Gold. You will be automatically entered in every horse race, every Wednesday and Friday. It is time to race horses. We are racing camels today.
Shout out to the Gold members. We're racing in San Antonio immediately here. And we're off. 2 minutes, 74 canals on this racetrack. It's wide. We're racing in San Antonio.
Pat Wally moving forwardly. Jeff Slaughter in the mix as well. And as is Randall Sheffield, who's put that beautiful nose out front.
But it's actually real grass here, Jimmy. Maybe Kentucky bluegrass. Oldie, no! There he goes. Oldie in the lead now. K. Wolf falls back. The horses love it. Sometimes they stop and eat it on the way to the finish line. That's why your horses start so far in the back. Here. Oh, look at Nutflush Allen bursting out here. J-Dub in the mix. Rude Boy up here as well. Jimmy, take it away.
There's Oldie. Oldie is moving to the front. We are past the halfway mark in our 2 mile. And there's Ricky Levy.
Oh my goodness, he's in the mix here. Jimmy, take it home. This is our first dog race ever.
19 seconds left in the horse race here. It's Fernando Mendoza trying to find the wire. 14 seconds left. Can Fernando Mendoza take this home? Here comes Kenny Can. Kenny Can wants a piece of the pie. Put his schnoz up front. Ricky Bobby, 9 seconds left. Can Donut Silks make a run? Can Res Mall make a run to be $50?
You son of a bitch!
Here comes Tori Coker. Kenny Can Smoke and Mirrors. Director 97 home. That is the way. Here comes Jason Meyer, the Eldorado custodian. Billy Friedrich. Jones one all coming down the finish.
Coin! Nowhere!
Oh no! Fanatical Jim!
From the Corker Peter Low Shack, legendary sports handicapper, more dapper than a Dom. Father young phenom, known as Jimmy, who declared one day that the bag was here to stay. Information like a PSA, when we all PSR, Pub Sports Radio, bizarre. There's a man named Slaughter and he flipped the script. No competition in this but they quit the trip. But we say we be pubbing, better with the bag and you love it. We want a top 10, we above it. Let's check.
Pub Sports Radio is very excited to announce the dates for Pubapalooza 4. The most exciting weekend of the gambling year. Round 1 of March Madness. It's all going down in San Antonio, Texas at the Southtown 101, Thursday the 20th till Sunday the 23rd. It's going down, baby.
Scheduled events every day that weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's all going down in Southtown 101. Come hang out with some of your favorite Pub Sports Radio personalities.
I can't wait. Meet us in Texas, baby. It's going. What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, December 12th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Great to see all of you guys. Had our Pubapalooza 4 video. We're going to make more of them talking about what's going on at Pubapalooza, but we can't wait. For those of you thinking of going, flights are cheap. Flights are perfect. It's the hotels are a little expensive, so we generally, almost all of us, use Airbnbs. You can still get hotels. You can still rock hotels. But, man, it is the greatest weekend of the year. I can't wait. I just put my head down and work, especially in these months in the cold. I just put my head down and work, knowing that soon, I'll be in San Antonio at the Southtown 101. Great to see all of you guys. Wow. Okay, we've got some important stuff coming on here in the chat. Conks Clip says, I need some positive vibes and prayers for my 1-year-old nephew who's in the hospital this morning. Man, there's nothing where it's more helpless than seeing a 1-year-old sick, a 1-year-old in a hospital. It's such a helpless feeling, Kong. I'm so sorry that you and your family are going through that. So if everybody could just take a second and send all of the positive energy they can to the Kong's Clips family, and send all the prayers for his nephew and get him back healthy and get him back home. Man, I am so sorry to hear that, Kong. So thinking about you and thinking about your nephew, little man. I got to get him better. Hate hearing that. So thoughts to your family, Kong, my friend. We have action coming in from the chat. I'm so excited to be back in business with you guys. We're week 15 of NFL, so I'll be back on Tuesdays with Loshak pretty soon. I'll be back on Wednesdays pretty soon. In January, in the new year, I'll be back on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I just feel starved for action when I join you guys on Thursday. I mean, Tuesday's such a focus on NFL, and we have all our bets in, and then I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to roll. I'm ready for action. I have a bunch of action. Okay, I've been told that I'm a little blurry here. Let's get that fixed. We'll have Jose tell me if I can get that. I don't know why that would be. That a little better. Snips. Okay, good now. Beautiful. All right, great to see all you guys. We've got stacks play today coming in. Sacramento Kings game over 231. Brock Purdy over 1.5 touchdowns for Justin McKelvey. Morgan Spooner delivering his NCAA card. Campbell moneyline. UT Arlington plus 9.5 and Iowa plus 6.5 and money lines. As Iowa State's playing their first road game tonight. Home team has won the last 4 matchups in this rivalry. Wine Time Sports in the house dealing with flu or COVID. I hate hearing that, man. Get better soon. Rest up. We need you. Adrian Bird ready to get to work. Series business. Red Girl, Viper NB, Nate Dogg 420, NJ Striker, Sir Mackey loves pie. Wine Time Sports will be a Pubapalooza 4. God, I cannot wait. We got plays of the day from Ron Crawford, NHL Philadelphia Flyers. I'm on the Philadelphia Flyers. You guys know that I'm very high on the Philadelphia Flyers. I have them to make the playoffs at plus 425. I have them over 81.5 points. I bet them almost every game these days. I'm on them again today. So I'm right with you here. NBA play today from Ron Crawford is the Detroit Pistons. We'll be going over all of that. It's a perfect card here. Now, maybe you guys don't want as much hockey. Hockey is dominating the landscape today, and I'm pumped up about it. We have Bobano joining us, 14 games in NHL. We got the Thursday Nighter. We got 7 games in NCAA basketball, and then we have the 3 in NBA. Von Polo in the house says, wish you guys were coming to Atlantic City. Yeah, man. It's let's just do up San Antonio in the worst ways. But we still have like 3.5K sitting in an Atlantic City fund. So it just needs a proper plan. And, the time for us to do it would probably be in like November type stuff, when it's cold, cheap. But we can talk to Jeff about that. Great to see you, Von Polo. Ron Crawford, ready to go. We got Justin McKelvey, Bo Jackson. A lot of love going out to our guy, Kong's Clips nephew. Bo Jackson says, loving the 49ers hat, Jimmy. I think it's just no situations are necessarily perfect, but Oh, 49ers are going to take care of business tonight. Hope you got in before the threes, like we all did. I can't wait for the game tonight. I can't wait for our Thursday night live stream tonight as well. Sweaty Butcher ready to go. Fat Wally says, I'll stick around for Pub 4. I can't wait. You got to, Wally. Slatsy in the house. We got LJ from H-Town. Predators team total under 2.5. It is a mess in Nashville. Now, I think that's a completely legit play. I'm on the Stars on the puck line at plus 130. It's an absolute mess. It might not. We're not sure how bad. Like, we're not sure if Yossi's going to play tonight. But you take Yossi off the ice too. You know, you're already missing Ryan O'Reilly. It's just an absolute mess in Nashville. Nate Dogg 420 is on the Leafs -1.5. Matthews a goal. Nylander a goal. That is the play of the day for Nate Dogg 420. Let's get that all set up here because that is the first game that we will be touching on. I am going to move on that game. I'm just waiting and waiting for the line to continue moving in the Maple Leafs direction. We got Old E in the house. And Sweaty Butcher got the permission slip signed yesterday. We'll be at Pub 4. I love that. They're saturated in the house. Great to see you saturated. Great to see all of you guys. It is time to get to work. My friends, thank you guys for joining us. So we have NHL, NFL, NCAA basketball, and NBA. We have a Stacks Play Day, Ron Crawford, best bets. But we have so much work to do. So I'm going to start and set up our NHL action. We will have Bobano here joining us shortly. The Skunt Blaster in the house. Nut up or shut up. Skunt Bag plays of the day. 1, 2, 3. Canadiens money line, Wild money line, and Pelicans money line. What a fascinating card you have there. I came close. I came very close to pressing the button on the Habs. I didn't, but I came close. And, I've only made 4 bets in NHL at this point. We have a 14-game NHL card, so there'll likely be more action here. Chip Plyler says McVay owns Shanahan, or is it the other way around? Well, Shanahan had a mighty, like a 9-game winning streak against the Rams in the regular season, which was snapped. The Rams won last 2, and the Rams won the big one to get into the Super Bowl a few years ago. But we will talk it all out. Skunt Blaster getting a Pub Sports Radio membership. Sean Fisher getting it. I love to see it. Skunt Blaster blessing our action. I'm so happy to be back in action with you guys. I've missed sitting in the seat, capping the sports card with you guys, and we have just the man to co-host today's proceedings, coming to us from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada's black and yellow, Steel Town. Speaking of which, Carter is playing black and yellow over and over and over again. He loves that song. Please welcome our guy, Mr. Ian Cameron, to the telecast. Bobano, how are you?
Either that or Carter knew I was coming on the show. I don't know what it was, but good to see you, Jimmy.
He's rocking all on his own. I don't remember ever playing it for him. I mean, this is a 3-year-old, so I'm sure, but I don't. Maybe the wife put it on for him. I don't know how he's rocking black and yellow. Bobano, I'm very excited about this NHL card. As you guys see, our records are poor in NHL. You had a strong showing last week. You went 6-3 on your action, except for the ties. And 2 of those ties looked like they were going to come to fruition.
Got robbed on 2 of them.
Yeah. So that made you
Detroit game still stings.
It was tough.
Norris scored with 40 seconds left. Couldn't believe it.
No, it was tough. So, but you were 6-3 on. You went 6-3 with your sides and totals, and then you went 0-3 on the ties. And we know that will come. But we need to deliver here. Of all the records that we have here, there's only one negative record in NBA, NCAA basketball, NFL, and it's just I'm down 0.34 units in NCAA basketball. Everything else here with Bobano and myself is positive, except for NHL, which is a problem. Let's get to work and let's fix. This is exactly the type of card where we can start making hay here. So let's get right to work. Thank you guys for joining us on Pub Sports Radio. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. Anaheim Ducks 10-13-4, 5-4-3 on the road. At the Toronto Maple Leafs 17-9-2, 12-4-0 at home. We're at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario. Lucas Dostal in net. He's been excellent, and I expect him to have a really strong career. 6-7-3, 2.67 goals against average, 9.21 save percentage, 1 shutout. There are very few teams that can screw up being the worst team, getting the top 2 and 3 draft picks year after year after year, not become a powerhouse. There are very few teams the only team that you can think of is the Buffalo Sabres. Every single other team rises up, and the Ducks will rise up. I've had some questions about how they've been playing Mason McTavish. Leo Carlson is back. Mason McTavish is on the third line. He's with Cutter Gauthier on the third line. Now, they're starting to create some chemistry there. I remember when I thought I was a star player, because every second year you're at your own age group. The first year you're playing with the older kids, and then you're at your own age group and younger. And when second years, I thought I was a star. And in my final year in grade 12, they put me on the third line center instead of a first line winger. And I had to pick up these pylons on my wings. And it was just so tough. I would rather McTavish not be a third line center if you want him to explode offensively. But I digress. Leo Carlson is back after missing 6 games with an injury. The Toronto Maple Leafs are getting the best goaltending in the National Hockey League. Who would have thought that we would say that with Stolarz and Wall? Wall, 7-3, 2.20 goals against average, .919 save percentage. He's actually just behind Lucas Dostal, who's been spectacular this year. Anaheim power play at 14.8%, penalty killing at 72.4%. Toronto power play 19.3%, penalty killing at 83%. I watched Zegras get hurt in a non-contact injury, and I was like, oh, he's done for the year. They've not announced anything other than he's on IR. Nothing. They've not announced anything going on with him. He was just coming together. I felt that there was coaching mistakes with Zegras as well. You got to give these kids confidence. I mean, they're and it looked like Zegras was playing so bad to start the first 10 games of the year that he might not be in the NHL for much longer. I think there's been mistakes with the young talent here, but again, let's get into line history and break this one down. Line history-wise, we have this huge move towards the Leafs. They are now minus 413. So they opened up at minus 372. That's a 41-cent move towards the Leafs. The last time the Leafs have this big of a move towards them at home, they comfortably took care of business. I'll get the game up when Bobano's talking about, but it was last week. So we have it, they open up as huge favorites, and they're just becoming bigger favorites. On the total here for this one, we have a 6. It's minus 108 to the over. It's open minus 103 to the over. There have been 5 cents of movement to the over. Dabby Cab in the house. We got Gorky, Dougie Wise, free bands play of the day, Chip Plylar, a great group. Thank you guys for joining us. Sean Pulliam on the Toronto first period under here. I'm interested to hear Bobano's take on this, but the under is appealing with the way these teams are playing. But the Ducks are on the second half of back-to-back after suffering their 4th straight loss, 5-1 at Ottawa last night. Their power play is being poor at 14.8%, penalty killing poor, 72.4%. Toronto, this is the most complete Leafs. I don't want to say team because, honestly, if they think that they can go through this year with Oliver Ekman, Larson, and Tanev on the first line playing 22, 23 minutes a game, they're mistaken. I mean, they're both defensemen will break down. They're not. Tanev has been unbelievably spectacular, but this is not. They have a ton of injuries right now. The Leafs are dealing with so many injuries. Jake McCabe brings so much toughness. Now he's missed 4 games with an upper body injury. He's close to returning, and it could be tonight. They're also missing Hakanpää. So those are 2 defensemen out, but Hakanpää has missed most of the year, so they're pretty comfortable with that. They're also missing Bobby McMahon, David Kampf, and Callie Yarncroc. Their depth. What the Leafs have is their elite top 6 are as good as any top 6 in the National Hockey League. They're just spectacular. And Johnny Tavares, Johnny Toronto playing out of his mind right now when we thought that he was kind of slipping over the last couple of years. He's playing better than I've seen him play since he's worn a Leafs uniform. So we have this Ducks losing 5-1 to Ottawa last night. They allowed 3 Senator power play goals. They went 0-5 themselves. That lost them the game. Before that, they were 4-0-2 in their last 6 road games. They've been quite good on the road because they're getting good goaltending. As I said, Leo Carlson is back. Bobano, take it away. I tell you what I want, and I've wanted it the whole time, and I'm just waiting because I knew the line would move to the Maple Leafs, is I want the Anaheim Ducks first period plus a half. You can get that between minus 120 and minus 125. The Leafs were outshot 39-17 at New Jersey. I mean, they were outplayed, outshot. They're just getting phenomenal goaltending, and they have elite scores. Take it away for us, Bobano. Game 1 on the card, Ducks Leafs.
Now, you haven't bet your first period look that you're leaning with, and I haven't bet the first period look that I'm leaning with, which is opposite you. Toronto puck line first period, because Toronto's got to respond after a horrible start. I think Anaheim stinks right now. I think it's very, very difficult to back them. Dostal I love the guy, but he's facing way too many shots. He's breaking down a little bit because of the workload and all the rubber against him. The problem is I don't like this price. I mean, I got to lay minus 105, minus 110, with a first period puck line. Toronto team total over 3.5 makes sense. They've scored 16 goals the last 2 times they've hosted Anaheim. They put up a 7 spot and a 9 spot against Anaheim in the last 2 times they've hosted the Ducks. So they have destroyed 16-2, by the way, the combined score in the last 2 times the Leafs have hosted Anaheim. So it's a great spot for, I think, Toronto to have to. No one's happy about that game, even though they won. They know the goalie stole it from them. Stole it for the Leafs. And again, the prices aren't good enough. The team total, I don't want to lay minus 160 or more. I don't want to lay minus 110 with Toronto puck line. So it's a pass for me.
And I understand from the Maple Leafs perspective taking them on the first period puck line. But do you feel like it is, even though the Ducks have been playing poor hockey, it is a really great spot for them to fire out in the first 20 minutes and play their best hockey?
But the good spots for them to fire out in the first 20 minutes are against inferior teams, not better teams than them, and better teams that are focused, should be focused at least from the opening puck drop. And I do expect that from Toronto.
So if that is the case and you're that bullish with the Leafs, stepping up in the first period, why have you not bet the first period minus a half?
Price.
What is the price?
Minus 110. I like plus money if I'm going to bet a puck line in the first period. For a team that be in front after the first 20 minutes, I feel I want plus money. I'm not getting that here. So it tells you all you need to know about the lack of value there is with the Leafs in this spot, even though I think, they could bury this team.
Mally Mouse says, Ducks, anything is donating. I don't think so. I mean, with the Leafs, it's one thing for them to they're playing a very tough brand of hockey with Craig Berube.
Yeah.
And they're not physically built for it. So what's happening? They're getting injured. They're getting banged up. Now they're playing pretty good hockey. I know that they had to snap a 2-game losing streak here.
The thing with the Leafs this year, we're used to them losing to bad teams, especially bad teams from the Western Conference at home in these weeknight games. That hasn't been happening this year under Berube. We think of the 4-1 win they had against Chicago, at home just a few weeks ago. That was the old Leafs. Sheldon Keefe Leafs would lose this game on a Wednesday or a Thursday night at home against a bottom feeder. They're not doing that as much anymore. So that's the difference in this Leaf team, I think, under Berube. The trap spots are not so much happening against them anymore.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I like this spot for the first 20 minutes for the Ducks with the Leafs.
I'll say this to back up Jimmy's point about Anaheim early. Prior to last night on the road, Anaheim had not trailed after the first period on the road all season. Prior to last night, they had not trailed once after the first period on the road this season until last night.
They also out-hit the Senators 37-23 last night.
Yep.
And as I said prior, that they were 4-0-2 in their 6 road games before this. This is the biggest game of the year for the Ducks. And this is not now because they were outshot so badly against the Devils. I know they're going to be up for it. But I am going to be on the Ducks first period plus a half. I'm waiting. It's not the first, even with the line move. I mean, I might get 5 more cents, and that's about it. Like these first period lines don't move that much. But I have already got 5 more cents. So if I had to bet this plus a half at minus 125 at 365 last night, it's now minus 120. Do I hear minus 115? I think so. I think it's possible, but we just got to wait and be patient. Mally Mal in the house. Andrew G, Aubrey, Travis. Great to see you guys. Sweaty Butcher says, what about the first period over with them? The goaltending you're going to see tonight is going to be extremely good. And that leaves me to one other thing. What do you think of the under 6 with Dostal and Wall, the way they're playing? And with the Ducks going to be playing, the Ducks know that it was there. Now, the Ducks penalty kill could get blown up by Leafs power play, which has been good, not great. What do you think of the under 6 in this?
Very tough total. It's a very tough total because these games in Toronto with these two teams, every one of them's gone over lately. But I know Anaheim's going to want to tighten up. Toronto's not exactly scoring right now. They're trending under at the moment. Current form tells you may want the under here a little bit. Then again, you look at the games in Toronto. The last 4, 6-1, 4-3, 7-0, 9-2. over in each game. So it's a total stay away for me with the total. No opinion whatsoever.
But none of those have been this year.
Correct.
So, and did you agree that Dostal is playing like a top 5 goaltender in the National Hockey League?
Well, they'd be in a lot worse shape if not for him. I remember there were games, a couple of them he stole for them. They won, and they were outshot 42-20, something like that. They got to stop this nonsense, Anaheim. You can't be giving up this kind of shot, volume to your goaltending every night. It's ridiculous at this point. And it's up to the coaching staff to instill, how to, keep things bottled up, and defensively in your own zone. They're not doing a good enough job of that right now.
I'm not sure if I move on the under 6. I'm interested in it, but I'm very interested in it. But the first period plus a half for the Ducks will be a bet that I'll be making. Let's roll on. Next up for 7 p.m. Eastern, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins, 12-14-4, 4-7-2 on the road. Montreal Canadiens, 11-14-3, 8-6-2 at home. Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec. Tristan Jarry is listed. I'm not sure if he will be in between the pipes. 5-4-1, 3.81 goals against average, 80-1 save percentage. He's been terrible. Sammy Montembeault, at times looks like he's starting to play really good. In this, he's been quite good of late. 9-11-2, 2.83 goals against average, 906 save percentage, 3 shutouts. Slatsy says Montembeault confirmed for the Habs. Suzuki assistant 6 straight, Hudson assistant 7 straight, and Hudson power play point for Slatsy at plus 425. Let's get that copied and pasted. Here we go. Okay, so Pittsburgh power play 21.6%, penalty killing 80.5%. Their special teams have been pretty good this year, really good. Montreal power play 22.1%, penalty killing 82.5%. Their special teams have been really good. Now, you guys know I want to fade the Penguins as much as possible. As bad as I've been in Maple Leafs games, I've been terrible in Maple Leafs games, terrible with Capital games. I'm starting to get my money back on the Flames because I have been only fading them on the road, although I'm fading them tonight at home. I've been really good with the Penguins, and I want to fade them every game. So I have to have a reason not to fade them. And the reason is just the 6-2 loss at home to Colorado on Tuesday. I want to fade the Penguins when they're feeling good about themselves, not when Crosby is going to demand accountability in the Bell Center in Montreal. And I'm not saying that the Penguins are the play here. I couldn't press the button on the Habs, even at plus 100, when I saw sharp offshores moving to minus, knowing that I was going to get a bit of a break. And we've already heard from our guy, the Skunk Blaster, who's running so hot right now that he is on the Habs. I just can't get over that 6-2 loss at home to Colorado on Tuesday. Crosby cares about going up against McKinnon, and that was a bad loss to take. Habs come in off their 3rd win in 4 games, 3-2 in a shootout at home over the Ducks on Monday. We have 2 very healthy squads here. Let's get into the total. This total is at 6.5. It's minus 107 to the over. It opened up a plus 104 to the over. So we've had 11 cents of movement towards the over. And then on the money line, we have the Habs right now at minus 104. They opened up at plus 104, and they, have moved 8 cents, almost dog to favorite situation. Take it away, Bobano. I'm fascinated to hear your breakdown. Pens, Habs.
Yeah, I think if you look at Pittsburgh, and it's going to give you the, I think illusion that they are becoming a good team or turning things around. I don't know what you're thinking, quite honestly. They played Vancouver with Shilovs in net, who is horrific, who's had a terrible season, and Vancouver was on a back-to-back, so throw that win out the door. They played a Boston team that was struggling at the time they played them, throw that win out the door. Play a Calgary team that stinks on the road, throw that win out the door. The one really good win, the 2 good win, Toronto was a solid win, but again, I thought there were some bad penalties, things that went against Toronto there. The Florida game, they got badly outshot. It was a stolen game, really, for the Pittsburgh Penguins there against Florida. So, yeah, it looks great winning against Florida. Yeah, but you got outshot 41-16. You got badly outplayed. Didn't deserve to win that game. So I could poke holes in almost every recent win that Pittsburgh's had. Say phony win, fraudulent win. And that's kind of what I feel about them. I like Montreal here. I will make them my first official play here. They lost earlier this year to Pittsburgh. They didn't love the way they played in that game. I think they look for some payback. It is concerning. Pittsburgh's played them well. They've won 5 straight head-to-head. Sidney Crosby always seems to play well in Pittsburgh, but I like what I'm seeing from Montreal. This power play is just lethal right now with Lionel and Hudson on it together. I'm right there with Slatsy. This is a bet that I made on the Ice Guys show the other day. My bargain bin special of the night segment was Lane Hudson power play point at plus 375. I like that quite a bit once again tonight. Let's make that official too. Why not? We got to get this. We got to hit some big plus money here to get this going. Plus 425 with that bet, with that prop. Lane Hudson power play point plus 425, and also Montreal money line plus 100.
You are locked in. It was the first spot that appealed to me on the card, and I will cheer for you guys here. If there was a shorter card, I'd be on it with you guys.
Yeah.
But there was enough for me just to, try to focus on what I believe in the most. If we were at the sports book and someone said, "Here's $1,000," I would put it on the Habs. Let's roll on. Rodney Barton with his action. Nate Dogg 420 with line 8 to score, and Slat. We are on the corner of Slatsy and Bobano Boulevard here with Lane Hudson power play point. For a big score here. I'm sure that appeals to a lot of cappers. Let's roll into the next spot on the board, because it's not fun fading a team that's won 6 straight games. It's so hard to get your head around doing it. And I haven't yet. But I have to. I have to pull up my socks and have the balls to bet against the Kings. And I thought, you know what? Okay. All right. Gorky, I couldn't disagree with both of those.
I was going to say, though, that's the other way around. Other than the playoff win 2 years ago and earlier this year when the Rams totally stole the game from the 49ers. Other than that, the Niners have owned the Rams. It's the other way around.
Completely owned them. And you're talking about a Niners team with Dre Greenlaw and Nick Bosa coming back. Ooh, shit. It's only Trent Williams going to be out. Now, that's both of those guys aren't confirmed. That's why the line has only sneakily moved towards the Niners. But it's part
Rams
of the fun.
On the road on a short week, playing the perfect game last week offensively against the Bills. The perfect game, kind of giving it away what I'm thinking in that game. But anyway, yeah.
Well, I'm right. I've already bet it. I can't wait for it. We've already heard from Razor Sharp Picks, Gamblers First Glance as well. Yeah. I cannot wait. So, but Gorky, that's part of the fun, and we love capping with you,
Rams.
Man.
You got to respect the Rams. We have to fear the Rams. They're a good football team. They got a great coach. They got momentum now. They want to make the playoffs too. They want to win the NFC West too. That's a huge game.
Yeah, I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun tonight. These are the matchups that I enjoy the most. But let's get back to NHL here. We got picks from Dave in the house as well. So let's roll. And I got Rodney Barton's action here. But let's go back to this Kings Devil spot. Prudential Center, Newark, New Jersey. Devils have not been good at home. 7-6-3. We've heard North Ender on Devils -1. And Scumplash says Kings are nothing. I'm off. Gun to my head. There's a Kings spot. I'll just watch this one. Let's talk about it here. Darcy Kemper, 6-2-3, 2.37 goals against average, 910 save percentage, 1 shutout. If he plays 40 games, has a winning percentage over 904. I owe Ricky Levine $100 American, and he's on the way now. He's playing well. Markstrom giving average goaltending. It's consistently average. That's something to say about 2.48 goals against average, 906 save percentage. The Kings power play just 16.7% power play, 80.4% penalty killing. New Jersey Devils have the best power play in the National Hockey League, 31.3%, 81.1% penalty killing. So let's get into the line history here for this one. And look, the Kings are playing very good. They're playing very good hockey. This is a line that, imagine if you've won 6 straight bets on the Kings and you see a plus 130. You laugh. You're like, oh, why are the books giving me this huge number? This has moved very slightly towards the Kings. The Devils opened up -150 yesterday at 2:55 p.m. They're now -144. And then on the total, we have the 5.5 -115 to the over. This opened up at 5.5 and then went up to 6. It's back at 5.5 right now. So the Kings come off their 6th straight win, 3-1 at the Islanders on Tuesday. They've allowed 8 goals over the 6-game run. I mean, they're playing phenomenal. Trevor Lewis is out for a month with a lower body injury. I'm a little surprised that that this winning streak has coincided without Trevor Lewis on the ice. And I know we got to get into the capping right now, but I would just like to give a shout out to Trevor Lewis. Now, he was a first-round pick, 17th overall, back in 2006. So he was a highly thought of, kid out of Owen Sound. And but this is a hockey player who has now played 999 games. He's never had a season with over 26 points. He's never had a season with over 14 goals. In only 2 seasons, he's had double-digit goals. And the next game he plays will be his 1,000th. I mean, that's just a heart and soul grinder. I mean, it just shows you so much about what it takes to succeed in the NHL. And I'm a huge fan of Trevor Lewis. And just want to give him a shout out. His next game he plays is his 1,000th, even though he's hurt right now. Nate Dogg leading to the first period over in the Kings game. Wager Tech says Kings 17-11 last 28 at New Jersey. We have UPK Ayash Yala in the house. Canadiens, Devils, Leafs, Jets, Oilers, Panthers, Blackhawks, Avs. I will copy and paste that. And Armchair said, I just cashed on the Kings the other day. I wouldn't mind potentially going back to the well. Plus money like that. Yes, everybody's going to feel that same way. And, I don't do this often because I don't care in the NHL, but why don't we just see what it is in the cash flow market? I'd be interested. Yeah, 43% of the tickets, 62% of the cash on the Kings. It's interesting. So here, Arthur Kaliev, Drew Doughty, of course, on the IR for a long time. Now they don't have Trevor Lewis, but they're handling that fine. The Devils coming off their second straight home loss following 2-1 overtime to the Leafs at home. They outshot them 38-17. They've scored 1 goal over the last 2 games. And then this is the final spot where I'm like, I have to bet this. It's my sweet spot. Game 4 of a 5-game homestand. It's my favorite spot in NHL and NBA capping. And I'm scared to bet it because the Kings have won 6 straight. I want to bet it. Now seeing North Ender on it gives me more confidence. And let's see if Bobano gives me even more confidence or takes it away. Take it home, Bobano, Kings, Devils.
This feels like one of those games, and I've said this before on the Ice Guys show a million times. When a team gets absolutely robbed by a goaltender the previous game, 30, 40 shots, they obviously lose the game. They only score 1 goal. Sometimes the floodgates open the very next game. The goals that should have went in for the New Jersey Devils against Toronto, they go in tonight for them against the LA Kings. And with all due respect to Kemper, Riddick, whoever's going to play in net, if the Devils generate the kind of offensive zone time and attack that they did against the Leafs in this game tonight, they will score goals against this. And I don't care how good LA is playing defensively. I still think LA is playing above their head right now. They're not this good. They're not. There's 6 wins in a row, but look at these wins. Anaheim, Ottawa, Islanders. Okay, Minnesota's a good win. Dallas is a good win, but the Dallas game, they got outshot, stolen the game, in my opinion. Dallas was the better team that night. Still have some questions about just how good they are, LA. I like first period over in this game. New Jersey's on a 9-1 first period over run. The only reason that game didn't go over in the first period the other night was because of Stolarz. That's the only reason. I mean, it easily could have been 3-0. I think the Devils are going to strike early. I think you could see the Kings maybe get on the board early because the Devils seem to give up a goal early in games lately. So over 1.5 minus 114 with the first period over, Kings Devils. And I'm also going to jump on that over 3, just for a little security here, over 3 for New Jersey team total, minus 140. Look, I like this. I like how this sets up, and we see this all the time. Team that gets, totally robbed by a goaltender in the previous game, and they come back the next game, they start to score goals. So, like I said, I like those 2 looks. First period over and the Devils team total over.
And what did you get on the 3?
Minus 140.
Minus 140 there on the 3. While you were capping, I looked it up because, it makes tons. And I was shocked at the Devils so at 365 over 2.5 minus 210 over 3.5 plus 120. Shocked at that number on a 5.5 with a team against the team like the Kings who've only allowed 8 goals in 6 games. So Armchair makes an important point. He says if they won 6 straight, I thought you were supposed to wait until the 7th win to fade them. And that's in baseball, right? Switching cities in baseball after 7 wins. It's the best angle that I've ever been a part of. And that's only because it's a long, you're sitting in one city for 3 or 4 or 5 nights, and then you switch. That has something to do with it. The Kings are moving every night. They're on a road trip. They're moving every night. It's not the same deal. BJ coming in with the best bet on the 49ers as well. You can see a lot of us are bullish on San Francisco tonight, but the public is on the Rams. It is almost perfect. Okay, I will be on the Devils -1. Just needed the confidence to get there and have been given it from the squad. Let's roll
One
on.
thing I want to point out before that Leaf game, okay, because they got shut out by Colorado, right? And then they only scored one against Toronto. But prior to that, when the Devils had scored one goal or fewer the previous game, they got shut out by Calgary. They won 3-0 against Edmonton, scored 3 goals. They got shut out by San Jose. They won 4-1 against Florida. They got shut out by St. Louis. They won 5-4 the next game against Detroit. They lost 6-5. Yeah, that's it. That's all the evidence prior to the Toronto game of how they performed after a game where they scored, I should say, 1 goal or less. So they've been very good in these spots prior to what happened to them against Toronto.
We also have a full card being, and that's a great point, Bobano. I don't mean to take it to move on from that point. So important. Yep. But Razor Sharp giving us his full Aqueduct card. Thank you so much, Razor. It means a ton to us. Thank you. Let's go. Why
are they starting Kolosov? Why, Slatsy? Why is Torts doing that? You got a nice win the other night. Erson's clearly your best goalie.
I mean, he allowed 3 goals on 16 shots. I think that he might just need some more practice time and things of that nature. Look, Kolosov and Fedotov. Look, I'm losing the Fedotov argument. Don't worry. Like, I'm losing it right now. Bobano's definitely winning it. He's not looked good of late after that strong month. They're winning despite their goaltending. Let's get into Wings Flyers right now. Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Erson, who I thought was going to be in net, is not. We have Kolosov in net. Cam Talbot on the other side. So Talbot's missed 4 games with the injury that he sustained during the game, loss to the Canucks, overtime loss, and he's been very good. .915 save percentage, 2.73 goals against average. That doesn't tell the full story because the Red Wings allow 30.9 shots per game. That's 5th worst in the league. So Talbot, and this shocked me, 10.1 goals saved above expected. I was like, good God, has he been that good? That's 5th in the league. For those of you guys wondering who is dominating in that statistic, I'll pop it here in the chat. It's Hellebuck first in the league, and then Lucas Dostal is 2nd in the entire league. Then it's Karel Vamenka, who I've always thought was better than Connor Ingram, and then it's Philip Gustafsson. So just for you guys to know, these are the top 4 ahead of Talbot here. There you go, of expected. That is goals saved above expected. And honestly, I do not believe that. I think this 4-game absence is going to hurt him. I really do. I think it's going to hurt him. I think he was playing at an elite level. It's very hard to come back. Now, 4 games, it's only been 12 days, but that's not easy, or 11 days, I should say. So I don't think he's going to be absolutely spectacular in this spot. And the Flyers have just been getting me paid. And when do I lose on the Flyers? It's in overtime. Now, I stayed away from that Florida game, which they looked excellent in. But I backed them against St. Louis. I backed them against Columbus. That move I got in at -103. It closed to -135. The Red Wings have not, the Red Wings have been playing just disjointed hockey. And maybe Talbot will come in and fix it. But this is a team that's scuffling. Their power play looks very good. Dylan Larkin's playing excellent. Their penalty killing is at 67.5%, just 67.5%. Slatsy says there's been a huge move with the Kolosov announcement. I was like Bobano. I thought they'd got to go back to Erson here, but this total is at 6 right now. 6, it's -111 to the over. There's been a 7-cent move towards the under. And when we get to the money line here, we have a Philadelphia at -120, now in -125. There was another move. So this is just moving towards Detroit. 13-cent move towards the Red Wings. I picked a poor time to bet this. Take it away for us, Bobano. Wings, Flyers.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually, I wanted to take the Flyers in this game and just now I see Kolosov. Don't put it off. Fade Kolosov. That's what we've been doing. Can't trust this guy either. Hasn't been blew the game against Boston the whole team did, but there was a goal there that was 3-2 Boston. He should have had that tying goal, in my opinion. And the next thing you know, they lose that game to the Bruins. That was gut-wrenching. That was a game they had no business losing, Philadelphia. And because their goaltending is so suspect right now, and I feel for John Tortorella. I feel for this hockey team because I see so many good things from them offensively right now. I see so many good things from their forward group. I see a defense where Sanheim is having just the best year of his career, leading it. I see so many good things, and then I see these Civ goaltenders that are just coughing up games for this hockey team that they should be winning. And that's frustrating. Then they finally get Ersson back, who's a cut above. Now, I know he's been a little rocky the first two starts, Utah and the Columbus game. But again, he's coming back from a long absence. He's still better than the other two guys. And now he's out tonight. Kolosov's in. I definitely like the over. There's no question. Philly is scoring right now. Detroit is a team that I don't trust defensively. And you're right about Talbot. You know, we haven't seen him for a little period of time. Let's see if he can come in there and be great. I'm not so sure about that. Talking about, obviously, a Philadelphia team that's got some confidence right now offensively. I mean, this Flyers team has scored 3 goals or more, Jimmy, in 8 of their last 9 games. So they're consistently scoring at least 3 goals, this team. So I do like that. You know what? Actually, now that I think of it, I do really want to have the Flyers in some form. Let's see what that team total is here for the Flyers in this game tonight. Let's see if it's cheap enough we can get involved with it. Oh, sign me up. Oh, yes. I think we've got what we wanted here. Yes, over 3 minus 125 at BetMGM for Philadelphia Flyers team total. Sign me up for that. It's a way to bet Philadelphia and not have to worry or get concerned or be flustered about Kolosov struggling if he does again. That's the way to go about it if you like the Flyers. Team total over 3 minus 125, and also the full game over for me, Jimmy, with Red Wings Flyers. That is over 6 minus 112.
Over 6 minus 112. Flyers team total over 3 at minus 125. I'm on the Flyers minus 1 at plus 113. This line has moved 17 cents since I bet it in the wrong direction. I watch these two teams play a lot. I think the Flyers are clearly the better hockey club right now. Now the goaltending is a serious problem. It's very possible that Bobano's betting it in the most astute way possible. But I'm just on the Flyers minus 1.
Especially considering, like I said, 3+ goals for Philly, 8 of their last 9 games. Yep. So 3 minimum, which means push minimum is what I'm expecting with that team total.
You're in business. Let's roll on. Next up for us, we had 7 p.m. Eastern. Washington Capitals 19-6-2, 11-2-0 on the road. Columbus Blue Jackets 12-13-3, 8-4-1 at home. Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. I still haven't bet the Capitals team total under. Season point total under. It's gone up from 101.5 to 103.5 after beating both Toronto and Montreal. And I was like, well, why would I bet it now against Columbus when they're, big favorites? Now they could lose. Even if they lose to Columbus and this goes down to 102.5, I'm okay with that. So I expect to bet it. We have Jet Greaves coming in for the Cleveland Monsters this year, 8-4-2, 3.21 goals against average, 902 save percentage, 1 shutout. He's a kid from around here, and he's undrafted, and he's come up, in a pretty big way, in a pretty legitimate way. I'm not sure if he has the skills to be an NHL goaltender, and that's the reason why he went undrafted. Now, I'd love him to prove me wrong. He will be in net making a season debut for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I believe that's being confirmed. Charlie Lindgren on the other side, 8-5-0, 2.80 goals against average, 897 save percentage. That wasn't confirmed either. Washington power play, 21.2%, penalty killing, 83.7%. Columbus, 18.3%, penalty killing, 71.4%. This is not the third game of a road trip, even though it looks like that. They came home. They went home after the win at Montreal on Saturday. So, they went home. They haven't been on the road this whole time. Columbus comes in off their 4th loss in 5 games, 5-3 at home to the Flyers on Tuesday. This team is missing Igor Chinnikov. I think he's a talent. They have Matthew Olivier day-to-day with a lower body injury, and Justin Danforth day-to-day with lower body injury as well. This is a team that doesn't have a ton of depth. Boone Jenner and Goodbranson have been out for some time here. So take it away. Oh, let me get into the line history here for this one. Washington's at minus 159. Look, I think that's a real legit number for them. They're not that good. They're playing so well. So not that good probably is a dumb thing to say because they are playing exceptionally well, but you can tell that the market, even against the lowly Jackets, this Jackets team this year is being very good as a home dog. And I guess the market is just kind of protecting themselves. 8-4-1 at home. The Jackets have gone. Now the Caps have gone 11-2-0 on the road. So it's just minus 155. This line has not moved. Opened up minus 154, now minus 155. And when we get to the total, we have a 6.5, heavily juiced to the over. This opened up minus 107. It's now minus 118, 11-cent move to the over. I've got no action in this one. Take it away, my man. The floor is yours, Capitals Jackets.
Yeah, I like the over by Fecta, and obviously, if you watch the Ice Guys, you know what I'm talking about when I say that. If you're not familiar with it, the over by Fecta for me is what I call doubling up on first period over and full game over, and that's exactly what I am doing here in this game with Washington Columbus. First period over minus 138 for the first period over 1.5 minus 138, full game over 6.5 minus 110. So we're on both of those. Columbus, 9-2 run to the first period over in their last 11 games. So they've been a very strong team as far as either scoring and or giving up goals early in games. We saw it the other night. I was on that first period over Flyers Blue Jackets the other night. Like I said, 9 of the last 11 have gone over in the first period for this Columbus team. You look at Blue Jackets Capitals historically, lots of high-scoring affairs between these two teams. Washington still in good offensive form, even without Ovechkin, what they've done offensively, other than a flat spot against San Jose where they were flat that night. I remember watching it. That's why I took San Jose. Other than that, they've won, 6 of their last 7, and they've scored at least 3 goals in all of them, 4 or more in 5 of their last 6 wins. So they have not stumbled one bit for the most part without Ovechkin at the offensive end. Jet Greaves in net for Columbus. Should be able to put some pucks past him. Mediocre numbers at the NHL level in the past. But I think Columbus at home, very capable offensively. They are a good offensive team right now, especially on home ice. And even against this Washington team that's been pretty good, the goaltending from Thompson and Lindgren's been solid. I think Columbus scores as well. So over first period, over full game.
You got it. Locked and loaded. North End says same thing as last year. No one respects the Caps, but they just win games. The market respects them. 103.5 wins. 103.5 points is, wild. And look, Tom Wilson is any team would dream of having a forward like him. And then you have Ovi before he got hurt playing elite level. Connor McMichael's playing like a top 6 sniper. They have, players stepping up in a big way. Strome showing why he was a top 3 pick.
Actually, even stronger the first period over with Columbus, 12-3 in the last 15 games for the Columbus first period over. And how about Washington? 15-3 first period over their last 18 games. So you combine that first period over for these two teams combined is on a 27-6 run. Wow.
And they've been, Robert Martin says even without Ovi, they've been spectacular without Ovi. No need, no need at all to have him. I mean, look, it did help to have him, but they're playing very well without him. Let's roll on. Next up for us, Blackhawks, Islanders. Blackhawks 9-17-2, 5-9-2 on the road. New York Islanders 11-12-7, 5-7-2 at home. UBS Arena in Elmont, New York. Arvid Soderblom listed. He's been very good. 2-6-1, 2.41 goals against average, 9.21 save percentage. Sorokin 8-8-4, 2.58 goals against average, 9.12 save percentage, 1 shutout on the year. Chicago's power play been strong all year, 23.3%. Penalty killing 82.5%. New York Islanders a power play at 13.3%, 65.6% penalty killing. It's those special teams numbers that just I don't know how anybody can bet the Islanders. We've been so used to at least the Islanders playing accountable defensive hockey and stepping up shorthanded. 65.6% penalty killing. And that's so basically in this game, the Islanders could be getting 2-1 on shots on goal. And they'll get a 1-stick infraction. Next thing you know, Bedard and the power play puts it in the back of the net. And I'd love to be on the Islanders -1, despite the injury report, which is not getting any better. You have Barzal still out. Looks like he could be back soon. We thought Duclair, was going to come back and be a fixture. He got hurt again. Pelech dealing with the jaw injury. He's out. Then you have Mike Riley out. We've had those 4 out. Now Scott Mayfield is sick. When you see one player with illness, you're like, oh, who else is sick then? The Blackhawks snapped their 5-game losing streak with a 2-1 win at the Rangers on Monday night. I want to fade them after that. The Islanders had their modest 2-game winning streak snapped, a 3-1 loss at home to the Kings on Tuesday. And then to add to it, these teams play again on Sunday night in Chicago. I think it's Sunday night. It might be Saturday night. I have Sunday night written here, but for some reason in my head, I think it's Saturday. But they play again in Chicago. And so, I would rather kind of see what happens here to help me bet that game than move on this one. But it took me a while to get off the Islanders. This 5.5 is juiced to the under. We haven't seen many of those this year. 5.5 juiced to the under. Open up minus 114 to the under. Now it's just minus 111 to the under. On the money line, the Islanders are minus 188. They open up minus 190. There's been no movement. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Blackhawks, Islanders.
Yeah, I like Chicago here. I like what I've seen from them in 2 games with the coach, Anders Sorensen. Played Winnipeg, I thought, pretty solidly, even though they fell short in that game. They beat the Rangers, obviously, the other night, 2-1. Very solid performance. What I like is that the defense are jumping into the rush, giving them a little more pop offensively, being a little more aggressive, which is what I like to see from Chicago. Here these first couple of games with the coach. We'll see if that carries over here into tonight, but I don't mind this from both ways. I like the renewed energy we've seen out of Chicago these first 2 games since the coaching change, and obviously the Islanders are way overpriced. I have no problem trying to go against the Islanders at this kind of a price. I know they had the back-to-back wins there against Carolina and Ottawa. They were outshot, outchanced, outplayed, lost the expected goals battle in both games, kind of phony wins. Both of them, quite honestly. And then they lost to LA the other night, 3-1. More like it from this Islanders team. So I think we got a live dog here. There's no reason for me to trust the Islanders in this kind of a price range against a team that's getting that new coach bump like Chicago is. So yeah, plus 170 Chicago.
Plus 170. So Alec Martinez left practice, so he's going to be out for an extended period, looks like, with the neck injury. With Seth Jones out, that's one of my rules, is always fade a team missing 2 of their top 4 defensemen, let alone 2 of their top 2 defensemen. Now, I guess the new coach bump kind of makes that a draw, but this will be one of the only times you will ever see me not fade a team missing their top 2 defensemen. And I agree, the Islanders' price is ridiculous.
Yeah,
so
it is. Yep.
Bobano moving on the Blackhawks at plus 170. We roll on 8 p.m. Eastern. Robert Martin, where if it's an offshore that we
plus
are not
168 actually is what it just moved to. So let's go with that at Pinnacle.
If it's an offshore we're not publicizing, you can just say an offshore book.
Offshore book, yeah.
Okay, offshore
plus
book
168.
There.
Yeah.
Plus
actually not plus 170, but it's plus 168 now at that place. That we.
All right, let's roll in here. Wager Tech says Varlamov is in. I thought he was day to day. I had Sorokin listed. I have Varlamov day to day right now. Is he back, like Wager Detective saying? Because that does change things.
Yeah, Sorokin's been up and down. I don't think there's a big difference this year between the two. To me, it doesn't matter at all who's in net. It is Sorokin actually confirmed.
Yeah, Varlamov's hurt, Wager Detective.
Anders Lee, by the way, may not play. And let's keep in mind, they're banged up on the blue line too, the Islanders. Pellick, Riley, Mayfield may be out again. And now Anders Lee, the captain, who's actually been playing pretty well lately. Really well, in fact. He's got 5 goals in the last 7 games for the Islanders. He's got an illness today. Game time decision, may not play.
Wager said I said if he's in. Where's the if in your sentence? No, it's not a big deal. You just said you said in Varla. Well, whatever. Let's move on. But yeah, he's
Arcelov.
Yeah, it's all good. Let's just focus here. We move on. 8 p.m. Eastern. San Jose Sharks 10-16-5, 4-10-4 on the road. St. Louis Blues 14-13-2, 5-6-1 at home. Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. Alexander Georgiev 8-7-0, 3.38 goals against average, 874 save percentage, no shutouts. Jordan Binnington 8-10-0, 2.93 goals against average, 897 save percentage, 1 shutout. We have San Jose and St. Louis. Both very similar special teams. San Jose 17% power play, 81.6% penalty killing. St. Louis 17.9% power play, 77.6% penalty killing. Look, we're gonna get to the Canucks because I told Jay Peasy, I was like, well, and I was afraid to do it in the Columbus game, but I was like, I'm gonna fade the Vancouver Canucks on this homestand every single hockey game until JT Miller comes back. And I was on the Blues. It should have been more comfortable than it was. But I still, regardless of this Monty bounce for the Blues, I'm still a little hesitant to back them after this road trip. The Sharks, though, are on the final game of a 6-game road trip, and that's what I would like to fade. So I was kind of stuck, but I was just kind of stuck in this one. Kenny Can in the house, great to see you. So let's roll here. Sharks coming off their third straight loss on this road trip. It was impressive, 3-2 win at 3-2 loss at Carolina on Tuesday. Will Smith is out with an upper body injury. He's a very good young hockey player. Marc-Edouard Vlasic was supposed to make a season debut on this trip, but still hasn't. I don't think it matters if he does. I'm not sure what he's going to bring to the table. This road trip here opened with victories at Seattle and Washington before falling badly to Tampa, losing to Florida, and then almost defeating Carolina. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have St. Louis right now minus 196. There's been a slight move towards the Sharks. And, if it wasn't the sixth game of a six-game road trip, I might be interested in it. This total has moved to 5.5. It opened up at 6. This 5.5 is juiced to the over minus 117 and plus 105 to the under. So it's not the most legit 5.5. So here we go. I want to back the Blues as much as possible. They're just so much better than they were, or than their numbers indicate with Monty and giving them hope. But this one was tricky. Take it away for us, Bobano. Sharks, Blues.
I'm taking San Jose first period and full game. I'm doubling up on the Sharks, if you can believe it.
I get it.
In this spot. And I've been riding the Blues under Montgomery, no question about that. But this is tough. They had a great 3-1 road trip. They end up that road trip winning in overtime versus the Vancouver Canucks with a great performance, obviously. In that game from Dylan Holloway. And by the way, I'm tacking on a Dylan Holloway goal prop. I mean, we have been backing. This guy's got like 7 goals in 6 games since Monty's been there. He's been absolutely on fire for this St. Louis Blues team. But this spot stinks. A good friend of the Ice Guys show, and I think he's in the chat here sometimes. Rich H. Do you know of him?
Of course, yeah, Vancouver guy.
Yeah, Rich H. in Vancouver. So he works at a nightclub in Vancouver called Celebrities. And guess who walks into that nightclub after the Blues Canucks game the other night, after their big overtime win, looking to have a little fun and really party and get down? Colton Parayko, Dylan Holloway, Jake Neighbors, a couple other Blues, having a good time at the end of a very successful road trip in Van City on a late Tuesday night. And that's a nightclub that's actually open late on a Tuesday night. That's Celebrities there where Rich H works. So he spotted them. He actually talked to them. Actually mentioned that the Ice Guys crew's been betting some of them with the goal props to them. So that was pretty cool. So there they were that night. Big road trip. Great. And they're playing great. Maybe they're playing so great they win tonight. And if that's the case, okay. But brutal spot. And then you see them having a little fun at the end of that trip in Vancouver. Now they're back home. San Jose's not great. They're struggling a little bit again, but they're feisty. They were good enough to beat Washington, on this long road trip. They gave Carolina everything they could handle. The other night, they had a 2-1 lead, and they ended up losing at 3-2, but they were very competitive in that game. This just has all the makings of a very, very troubling spot for St. Louis, just coming off that road trip, feeling good. And keep in mind, they've only played one home game here at Scottrade or Enterprise Center under Montgomery, and they actually lost that game as a home favorite against the Philadelphia Flyers. So they're actually 0-1 under their one loss. Actually, 2 losses. They did lose in Edmonton on the road trip, but their only home game under Monty, they lost to the Philadelphia Flyers. So, yes, this is a bit of a bold move. We are talking San Jose Sharks against a red-hot team that's clearly gotten a positive from the coaching change. But I hate the spot. And then you hear what's happened with the little fun that was enjoyed by some of the players on the team at the end of that, after that Vancouver game. I think it's worth a shot here with San Jose. So, plus 146 first period money line San Jose, and plus 175 full game money line San Jose. Actually, no, plus 182 is available at a book we won't name, but plus 182 is available.
You are locked and loaded. Bobano, Sharks first period plus 146, full game plus 182. We're gonna get if we could get the producer and co-host of this show, Jose Buquet, to put that link up for our books that we are working with right now.
Pushing the envelope, baby. If we get cash some of these tickets here tonight, we're gonna dwindle down that deficit. That's the point. That's the goal.
We'll be there. We have years and years and years of proof. It's embarrassing and it's tough, but it's just
my overall season's down too. It's not 20 units down, but it is slightly down. So we can
deliver. It's a battle that we love fighting. But if we could, if you guys want to do something to support the channel, sign up for one of the deals that we have with the books on our website, and it'd be a big help. Again, we get a bonus if someone signs up. We don't get a cent off anybody losing. We want you guys to destroy the book.
Oh yeah, tack this on too. Got to bet it. Just have to ride it with him right now. Holloway, celebrate. If we bet on Holloway, take some time to celebrate. Dylan Holloway plus 300 score a goal.
That overtime goal was very, very important to me. I can't explain how much I needed it. All right, let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern, Nashville Predators, Dallas Stars. We're American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Predators are an absolute debacle, an absolute mess. Just a team in disarray. Right now, we don't know at this point the market will probably tell us, but we don't know if Yossi is playing. Imagine if he is now out. Gustav Nyquist day-to-day
score, and he's also minus 22.
It's horrific, but it's I blame the forwards. How you can back this team without Ryan O'Reilly on the ice is beyond me. It's so interesting. And teams that just make huge moves in the free agent market and don't build from the draft and the ground up, I think are making mistakes here. And the Predators are an absolute mess. Saros has been okay, 6-13-5, 2.72 goals against average, 908 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Ottinger, 2.43 goals against average, 912 save percentage, 1 shutout. The Nashville special teams have been so good, which is another surprise why they've been so bad. Nashville power play, 18.4%, penalty killing, 87.1%. They were last seen suffering their 6th straight loss, 4-3 at home to the Flames on Tuesday night. Stars snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 6-2 win at home over the Flames on Sunday. A Dumba day-to-day. I moved on the Dallas Stars on the puck line, -1.5. I had the Stars on the puck line, -1.5 against the Flames. I initially was thinking of moving on the -1 line, and I was like, you can't. I'm not in it for these -135 spots, man. I want to get paid when I'm right, and it's now +120, so it's moved 10 cents in my favor. Take it away for us here, Boban. We've got to speed it up a bit because we got the Thursday nighter as well as the 7 college basketball games. Predators, Stars.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Stars team total rather than regulations. Actually, not a bad price, but I feel better about the team total here for the Stars, which I cashed on them against Calgary in their 6-2 win. I think offensively, this is on this homestand. It's set up well for them to get their offense back on track again. They had those tough games against LA and Vegas at the end of that road trip. Now they get a chance to feast a little bit. Nashville just gave up. Think about how this is another reason I think Dallas can get to 4. Nashville in the loss to Calgary gave up 4 goals to a Flames team that had not scored 4 goals since the 3rd game of the season back in October. That's how long it had been since the Flames had scored 4 goals in a game until they faced Nashville in Music City, in what was supposed to be a desperation, sense of urgency, save our season spot for the Predators against a team that was lousy on the road going into that game. Calgary as well. Tells you all you need. They look broken. And no O'Reilly being out, they have no depth at center whatsoever. None, 0. They can't defend anymore either. That's gone downhill. Saros not having close to the year he's had in the past. You put it all together, I think Dallas gets 4 goals. -105, over 3.5.
Over 3.5, -105. You are locked in. I'm on the puck line. Nate Dogg on the puck line as well. He's on Heiskanen, an assist, and Duchesne, 2 shots on goal. Let's move on here from that one. Again, the only other thing with Dallas is, of course, Seguin's out until the first game of the playoffs, and that $9 million is going to go off of their salary cap, and they're going to be huge buyers at the deadline, and they're going to. Again, I still wonder, why am I not on Dallas futures yet? Maybe I should do that before. Maybe I gotta get it. Okay, let's roll on. Res Mob in the house. We roll on 8 p.m. Eastern. Vegas Golden Knights 18-7-3, 7-4-3 on the road at Winnipeg Jets, 21-9, 10-3 at home at Canada Life Center, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Aiden Hill listed 12-4-2, 2.63 goals against average, 905 save percentage, 2 shutouts. He's playing better of late. Connor Hellebuck is a perennial Vezina trophy nominee, 18-5-0, 2.09 goals against average, 920 save percentage, 3 shutouts. We went over the saves above expected, and he is just leading the league. Vegas power play 27.1%, penalty killing 79.3%. Winnipeg power play 30.4%, penalty killing 77.6%. They come in off their 3rd straight win, 3-2 at home over the Stars, but that was last Friday. They've been off for 6 days. I've made mistakes with teams off of these long breaks. They've actually been stepping up in the situation. And Zach Whitecloud and Ben Hutton are both close to returning from injuries. I don't see why they wouldn't be back. I haven't got that information yet. The Jets bounced back. Of course they did. I was on them on the -1 line against the Bruins. The surprise 4-1 loss home to the Jackets. They bounced back by destroying Boston 8-1 on Tuesday. It's just a little tricky. I find it a little tricky to back them. I felt this game was difficult to cap. And so I've not moved on it here. So we have Vegas right now. Well, this total is at 5.5. 5.5. This was a 6. It moved to 5.5 about 30 minutes ago. So that's a fascinating. Not only did it move to 5.5, but it moved to 5.5. And the first move was 11:43 a.m. It was -118 to the over. Then there was 6 more cents of movement to the under. So these are two teams that will be battling all year, and maybe meeting in the conference finals. Let's get into the line history here. There's been a huge move towards Vegas from +115 to +106. I mean, 9 cents, but still, it's a big move in my estimation. Winnipeg has gone from -130 to -117. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Knights, Jets. Oh, I think you muted my man.
I like Vegas here. I just like the way this sets up. I mean, Winnipeg off that emotional. It was emotional because it got nasty and intense and filled with fights and the coaches going at it on the bench in the third period against Boston the other night. But all of a sudden, the Jets have had trouble stringing good games together. They have only 1 2-game win streak in the last month and a bit, and that came against Chicago and Buffalo, 2 have-nots. Essentially. So, can they sustain it and can they follow it up is the question. Vegas has won 3 in a row. Now, we know the elephant in the room with Vegas is the road record. They're 11-3 at the Fortress, just 7-7 on the road. But, they lost, Vegas, I should say Vegas got the win 4-3 in Vegas. Vegas has dominated this series in the regular season. They've won 4 straight regular season meetings between these two teams. Of course, they won the playoff series a couple of years ago. Over the Winnipeg Jets as well. This has just been a very good matchup here for the Vegas Golden Knights. So, and I don't mind the price at all against a Jets team that I thought they were in a great spot against Boston. Can they sustain it here? Let's be honest, too. Boston feasted on a lot of weak teams, building up that solid little run under Joe Sacco. People will think, oh, this coaching change fixed it for Boston. No, the schedule fixed it. They faced a lot of easy opponents. They finally faced someone better in Winnipeg. Winnipeg took advantage. Vegas will be a lot tougher than Boston. I like Vegas here, +106.
Vegas +106 here. You are locked and loaded here. Res Mob, the respect play of the day is Iowa State -5. We'll be discussing that here shortly. Handoff game, 2 completions, and Robert Martin going to be going to the game. Have an incredible time. What a great game to go to. All right, let's roll on. Next up for us here. Sorry, just copying and pasting the respect play of the day. Let's roll on. Next up, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Edmonton Oilers 16-10-2, 8-4-1 on the road at Minnesota Wild, 19-5-4, 7-3-1 at home at XL Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. Look, I did not think I wanted to bet the Oilers. I did not think they'd be this big of a favorite, and now they're an even bigger favorite. This line moving towards the Oilers, and now. I was hesitant to take him at -130. Now I have to take him on the -1 line. I do not want to back Minnesota, even though they're playing phenomenal hockey without Joel Eriksson Ek, Matt Zuccarello, and Jonas Brodin against the best teams in the league. I will back them.
Eriksson Ek's going to be shadowing McDavid all night, and now he's not there to do that. That's a big loss defensively in the matchup.
He's such a quality player. He does everything that you need. And the Oilers come off their third straight win, 2-1 at home over the Lightning on Tuesday. Wild coming off their 6th win in 7 games, 5-4 in a shootout Utah on Tuesday. They're making everything look difficult. Slatsy says Wild 8-2 last 10 versus the Oilers and 4-0 last 4 in Minnesota. And look, I just, I'd like to be on the Oilers here. And the market's telling me that I should trust it, because can you imagine a Wild team? Now, I know they're just 7-3-1 at home, but they're 19-5-4 on top of the league at home, and they're dogs, and the line's moving away from them. This line's gone from -130 to -146. guess I should just bite the bullet and take the -1, but it just doesn't make sense. Really, at this number to back it. This under 6 has gone from -104 to -115. Let's get into this one. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Oilers, Wild.
I like over 5.5 here, -125. Let's lock that in. Minnesota without Eriksson Ek, you lose something offensively, you lose 10 times of that defensively. And I think that is something we're going to start seeing. And I think we saw signs of it, did we not, against Utah? Every time Minnesota scored, they'd give up the next goal. That defense is not as good as a team without Eriksson Ek on the ice. And now it's going to be put to the test, obviously, by McDavid, Draisaitl, and this Edmonton Oilers team. But Minnesota offensively, man, they continue to impress. And I like what I see from them. Kaprizov, Rossi's been amazing. Boldy's been outstanding. Their big guns are playing at a very high level. They've been a consistent offensive team during this stretch. In their last 6 games, the Wild have scored at least 3 goals in 5 of those 6 games. I think given Minnesota, and I think they can still find the back of the net here against Edmonton, especially considering the series history. They've owned the Oilers. And here in Minnesota, the Wild have scored 7, 5, 5 goals in 3 of the last 4 meetings. And by the way, the last 4 meetings overall, regardless of venue, Minnesota has scored 7, 3, 4, and 5, including a 5-3 win earlier this season. Not to mention the last 4 meetings, 11 goals, 7 goals, 6 goals, 8 goals. All of them would sail over 5.5. So the fact we get a 5.5 here, given the situation with Minnesota missing Eriksson Ek, more liability defensively without him, yeah, I like it. Oilers Wild over 5.5, -125.
And Brodin as well.
Brodin too. Big loss on the back end. Big. Yep.
I think I'm going to have to move on the Oilers -1. All right, let's move on. 9 p.m. Eastern, we have the Utah Hockey Club, 12-11-5, 8-6-2 on the road to Colorado Avalanche, 17-13-0, 7-7-0 at home at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. Karel Vejmelka, we've gone over how great he's been this year, going up against Mackenzie Blackwood. That's interesting. Colorado making wholesale changes between the pipes. Vejmelka, though, 2.45 goals against average, 9.15 save percentage. Mackenzie Blackwood has a 9.11 save percentage so far this year. Colorado power play 25.3%, penalty killing 75. Utah 19.5, penalty killing 78.2. The Avalanche coming off their 3rd straight win, 6-2 at the Penguins on Tuesday. It was a very impressive 5-game road trip, and now they're home, and it's just not the situation that I generally like to back a squad. Utah had their 2-game winning streak snapped, a 5-4 shootout loss at home to the Wild on Tuesday. These teams are beaten up, and we'll start with Colorado. Josh Manson out at least until December 27th. He has to provide so much toughness for this team. Then you have Mackenzie Blackwood, who's sick right now. Oliver Shillington has been out for a while. He's out as well. And then Druin and Miles Wood have been out for a while. So they're pretty used to these injuries, but they are here. And then Utah has been dealing. The main injury has always been Sean Durzi, and they've done very little to fix that. But now Maverick.
Well, the young kid too's out on the blue line. Yeah, there you go, Maverick Lamoureux. Yeah. And then John Marino has been out, all year. They're used to that. Robert Bortuzzo though out as well. So you have Lamoureux and Bortuzzo out, and they're playing good hockey. And this is not the team you want to have those guys out against. This total's at 6.5. It's juiced to the over, -116 to the over. There's been 8 cents of movement to the over. And the money line has the Avalanche at -173. They open up -182, a slight move towards Utah. If this wasn't coming back from a road trip, I would be on them. Slatsy saying that Avs 8-1 last night versus Utah, Arizona in Colorado. Chip Plylar says Colorado wipes the floor with Utah tonight. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Utah Hockey Club, Colorado Avalanche at Ball Arena. They also won at Utah earlier this year, 5-1, and that's back when the Avs weren't playing that well at the time. So, yeah, they have really owned this Utah/Arizona franchise in the last several years. We'll see who's in net for the Avs. Blackwood, if he's back from his illness. If it's not, it's Wedgwood, the other Wood. It's the law firm of Wood and Wood here for the Avs. The Wedgwood's been excellent for this team as well, really, for the most part. He played great against Pittsburgh, shut out his old team, New Jersey. Okay, they gave up 5 and they lost to Carolina. I remember that game, his first start with the Avs. They were awful in that game, Colorado. It could have been worse than that if not for Wedgwood, actually, if you can believe it. So Right now, I do like Colorado team total, Jimmy, in this game. I will bet that. I feel good about where their offense is at right now. I don't like what I'm seeing from Utah defensively of late, starting to really hemorrhage. Vimelka's suddenly started to fall off again after that brilliant run in net. He's projected but not confirmed in net. That's what I prefer because I don't want to guess who's going to be in net. And this way I can focus on the Avs scoring 4 at home, which they usually are capable of doing. And obviously they got 5 the last time they played Utah. So over 3.5, Colorado team total, -118.
-118. Lamont Williams, Tampa Bay money line, and max bet is Puka over 90.5 receiving here from Lamont Williams. Thank you for sharing that with us, Lamont, my man. I will share it with everybody. And the Lightning leads us into our very next spot on the board. I'm also on the Lightning. I am taking them on the -1, or I bet them on the -1 line. I got +108. It was a -148 money line, +167 a puck line. Let's see what it is now. I've got moves on the next 2 games here with confidence. Now one line has gone heavily in my favor and one has not. This is the one that has not. It's -146. It opened at. It's now -145. And look, Lightning had their 2-game winning streak snapped in a tough 2-1 loss at Edmonton on Tuesday. This is game 3 of a 4-game trip. They faced the Kraken on Saturday. I just love the spot for them. Now Anthony Cirelli and Eric Cernak are both day-to-day with minor ailments. It'd be nice to have them playing. Flames snapped their 2-game losing streak in a 4-3 victory at Nashville on Tuesday. I mean, who cares? It was the first road game that I haven't faded them in a while. I was late to the fade train, even though I wanted to. It's just there were some spots that I didn't fade them on, and I tried to get over that, but I couldn't fade them against Nashville. But I can certainly fade them here, where they're 10-3-1 at home. It's not the most comfortable situation, but you guys know how high I am on the Tampa Bay Lightning. I felt this was a pretty easy situation. Tampa Bay Lightning -1 at +108 for me. Take it away, Bobano.
Yeah, Calgary's actually beat them 4 of the last 5 times. I was alarmed and I remember that now. Last year, I'm like, wow, Flames, but different situation. Tampa is off a loss to Edmonton. I've been mystified and trying to figure out how and why Calgary looks so good at home and so awful on the road. It really has been that way until, of course, the last home game. They did lose to the red-hot Jim Montgomery St. Louis Blues 4-3 in overtime. Maybe that's a sign that this little Cinderella run at the Saddledome is set to come to an end. The fact that they lost that game to the Blues on Saturday night, and they followed that up losing 6-2 in Dallas. Don't put any stock in that finally them getting a road win against Nashville, because Nashville is just completely in shambles right now. So, yeah, it's definitely a Tampa spot. I would agree with that. And I do want to be in on it in some form. I decided to just go with the team total, though, once again, instead. Tampa team total over 3.5, +106 is the price with that. And I'm going to sprinkle on over 6 -120 in this game as well, the full game over. Noting the fact that each of the last 3 meetings, 6-3, 4-2, 6-3, we've seen 6 goals minimum in each of the last 3 head-to-head meetings here between the Flames and the Lightning. So I think that's got a decent chance to continue here tonight in this game. So that is what we will be rolling with here in this game, is that full game over and the Lightning team total over.
In the full game over was over 6 at -120?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, Crystal, Bobano is on the Avalanche team total over 3.5. That's at -118. Let's roll on here. I'm on Lightning -1, Bobano on the over 3.5 and the full game over 6. Move on to the Florida Panthers. Now, here's a line move I smashed. I got a slightly better line at 365. Even if it's slightly worse, I generally will send it in at 365 to the local instead of betting it at one of these other books with liquid. And so I moved on to Panthers. This has gone 25 cents in my favor. I got this as a +108 -1. I just destroyed the line move. Now, I got concerned when I saw that JT Miller is close to returning to the Nucks. There's a lot of issues going on in Vancouver, a lot of issues going on with Tocchet. He's being very hesitant in his press conferences. Every time he puts somebody down, he tries to backtrack as soon as possible. He's editing. You can see he's editing himself not to put somebody under the pressure of the Vancouver media.
He's half joking, half snapping at them earlier this week about all the Pedersen questions. I found that was very funny. It's like, oh, it's always Petey. And he's like saying, you're always asking about him all the time, And then the next day, after the game, the next day, he starts the press conference saying, oh, but good to see you guys. By the way, Petey had eggs and bacon for breakfast, just in case you were wondering. Yeah.
Well, the contract is horrible.
Yeah.
It's going to be a huge weight around the neck of the Canucks. I couldn't believe that they made the decision to do that, but it is what it is. Demko back. He didn't look bad in that 4-3 overtime loss. He's got work to do. He's supposed to play again here. Panthers coming off their third straight win, 2-1 in a shootout over the Kraken on Tuesday. And Bobrovsky's not playing very well. But Forbort is coming back tonight, bring some size to that defense. But Hronek is out for a long term. And JT Miller, as soon as JT Miller comes back, I'll stop fading the Canucks. I won't know what to do exactly. But I won't be immediately wanting to fade the Canucks. I watch these games. I see how they're susceptible they are. And so I'm on the Panthers -1. I destroyed the line move. Maybe the line was set up thinking that JT Miller might come back. Nate Dogg on the other side with Vancouver moneyline. Quinn's 1 or more assists. Garland 3 more shots on goal. This will be the third straight game I faded the Canucks. And this will be the third straight game I get paid fading the Canucks. Take it away for us, Bobano. Wow. Panthers, Canucks.
Confidence. I like that. There we go. I'm with you too, but in a different form. I'm team total route once again. Very interesting stat. Vancouver is a home underdog this year. They've been a home underdog 5 times before tonight. 0-5. 0-5 Vancouver is a home underdog. So when they're facing a team perceived to be a little bit better than them on home ice, they don't get the job done. At least not this year they have. So they're 0-5 in this role. And in a lot of those games, too, the opponent scored 4 goals. So it's just one of these deals where I don't want to lay this kind of a price, but we'll definitely take Florida team total over 3.5 plus 118. When you're hearing Thatcher Demko, and we're going to assume he starts tonight, say, I definitely didn't feel right. I'm rusty after the loss to St. Louis the other night. That's a goalie you don't want to rush to bet on right now until you see evidence of him working his way back into form. Panthers weren't thrilled, believe it or not, with their performance against Seattle the other night. They felt like they were their execution wasn't good. They did carry the play, but Paul Maurice, a lot of the players, we didn't like our execution. We didn't make good enough plays with the puck in that game. So they actually think they can improve on that. So I like hearing that from Florida if you're going to back them in a spot like this. So Florida Panthers, team total over 3.5 plus 118.
I love it. I'm on the -1. It's going to be a fun spot here. It'll be popping off near the end of the football game, or at least halfway through the football game.
And
let's roll into the final.
Don't underestimate the loss of Phil Hronek, because now that's even more fucking of a piano on Quinn Hughes back, and he's going to have to look for somebody to step up on that blue line. And as we know, there's a drop-off.
Let's roll on here. Next spot on the board. Final spot on the board, 10 p.m. Eastern. Going to NFL after this, and then the 7 college basketball games. And we have 35 minutes to do that here. We have Boston Bruins at Seattle Kraken. Bruins 15-12-3, 6-6-1 on the road. Kraken 14-14-2, 7-6-2 at home. Climate Pledge Arena, Seattle, Washington. When Joy Daccord is in net, this team is better than the numbers indicate. All I want to do is back the Kraken as much as possible. Unfortunately, the Bruins come in off an 8-1 defeat in Winnipeg, snapping their 4-game winning streak. Marchand said, this was coming. Our practice has been sloppy. Our execution has been off there, and it bleeds in the games. He's very upset. Sacco was upset. In their 7-2 before that debacle. Before that debacle, in those 9 games, they allowed the second least goals against in the league. 2. Before Sacco was head coach, they were 28th in the league, allowing 3.45 goals a game. Hampus Lindholm still out of the lineup. Kraken coming off their second loss in 3 games, 2-1 in a shootout on Tuesday. I really think that they're bet on. Jordan Eberle out long term. Yanni Gourde day to day. He's not expected to be in the lineup. He's been a huge piece of this team. And Jared McMahon is expected to be in the lineup. Now, that hasn't been confirmed. They're both listed as day to day. But, I mean, this has got to be a Bruins spot. Despite it being a Bruins spot, I do not want to fade Joey Daccord and the Seattle Kraken at home, really under any circumstances. But, this would be the spot to back the Bruins. This line opened up Bruins -109. They're now -114. 5 cents of movement towards them. You have to expect a much better defensive performance from them. This total is at 5.5, slightly juiced to the under. And it hasn't really moved. It opened right at that number. So take it away for us here. Bobano, last game on the board, Bruins, Kraken.
Maybe better defense for 60 minutes, but I like 2 goals in the first 20 minutes. Boston on a 5-0 first period overrun. I cashed a ticket with the Bruins-Jets first period over on Tuesday night. They're getting on the board early, Boston. They're also conceding goals early in these games. And I like both teams are off a loss. Seattle to Florida, Boston to Winnipeg. I expect both teams to want to get on the board early in the first period. So I expect a good pace early in this game. Maybe the scoring slows down after that. But a 5-0 first period overrun for Boston coming into tonight, I will ride that. So my only bet here, Boston, Seattle over 1.5, minus 110 first period.
You are locked and loaded. That concludes NHL breakdowns for Thursday, December 12th. Let's review action. I'm going to be on the Anaheim Mighty Ducks first period plus a half. Just waiting to get the VIG down as low as possible. We have a possible spot on the under 6. I'm not sure. I might get there. I love hearing Vladar is in that slot seats. Lex Steele in the house. I like it. Lamont is parlaying his action to Tampa, Florida, and Puka over 90.5 receiving. I love it. So we have the corner of Slatsy and Bobano Boulevard on Lane Hudson power play point at plus 425. Bobano is on the Habs plus 100. Hard for me not to be on that one as well. Then we have UPK Ayashiola also on the Habitant. We have Bobano on the first period over 1.5 and the Devils team total over 3 in Kings Devils. I'm going to be on the Devils -1. I just had to talk it out first. Bobano on the Flyers team total over 3 and the over 6 in Detroit, Philadelphia. I'm already on the Flyers -1, but I got a bad line. It was before the Kolosov decision. I got plus 113. You can get much better now. Bobano on the first period over 1.5 and the full game over 6.5 in Washington, Columbus. I'm off that spot. Bobano on the Blackhawks at plus 168. I'm off that spot. Bobano on the Sharks first period plus 146, full game plus 182, and Dylan Holloway to score at plus 300. I'm off that one. I'm on the Dallas Stars -1.5 at plus 130. I bet that last night. It's now plus 120 around that. Bobano on the Stars team total over 3.5 -105. And I really feel like I got to get in my Dallas futures. The problem is I'm so bullish on the Oilers but this $9.5 million that they're going to have is like, it's unfair. And, we can get into that later, but Sagan's going to be available to go. It'll be like the Mark Stone situation where they have to hold him out. Bobano on Vegas plus 106. He's on the over 5.5 in Oilers Wild. I'm going to be moving on the Oilers -1. I'll be adding that in. Then Bobano on the Avalanche team total over 3.5 at -118. I'm off that spot. Bobano on Lightning over 3.5 plus 106 and the over 6 at -120. I'm on the Lightning -1 at plus 108. I'm on the Panthers -1 also at plus 108. And that line's moved heavily in my favor. Panthers team total over 3.5 for Bobano at plus 118. Bobano on the first period over 1.5 in Bruins Kraken. That concludes our action.
Actually, I forgot the Bruins Kraken. One more bet. This is the one draw that I have on my card tonight as well. Bruins and Kraken. 3 previous meetings all time in Seattle, Bruins versus Kraken. All 3 games decided by 1 goal, and 2 of the 3 games have gone past regulation. So plus 314, Boston, Seattle, draw.
You got it. Draw plus 314. And our guy, Ronnie Crawford, spreadsheet play today is the Flyers. I wish I had known that when we're going to go to Urson, I would love to be on it right now at a much better line, but I still Flyers are bet on, as you guys know, over 81.5 points, plus 425 to make the playoffs. The bottom teams in the East are so weak. Shout out to Ron Crawford. Play today, Philadelphia Flyers. Ron Crawford! All right, let's roll on.
Tee up the NFL game, Jimmy. Just be back in a couple minutes.
Sure, for sure, my man. We head to NFL. I'm on the 49ers -2.5. I got that with regular Vega -110. I'm also on the under 49. I said that if it got up to 50, I would bet the under again. Now it's down to 48.5, so it looks like I won't have to concern myself with that. But you know how these Thursdays work. It could go back up late with the public hammering the over. The 2.5 is still available. You can still get it with not too much juice, which means it looks like there's been somewhat of a move back to the Rams. BJ's max. Oh, and Jake McCabe is back for Toronto. Okay, thank you, Nate Dogg. That's very important for the Leafs. I don't think he'll be that good in his first game back, but that's important. Yes, rain at Levi Stadium, and it's cooler than we projected on Tuesday. 54 Fahrenheit and showers. We'll go over all the injuries. Robert Martin, they still don't have Trent Williams back, which hurts, but yes, they're getting healthier. let's roll. We have had this. So I'm on the Niners, Troy on the Niners, and on the Niners money line. I may add the Niners money line. We have BJ's max bet on the Niners. We have razor sharp picks, gamblers first glance as well on the San Francisco 49ers. Want more money on the Niners, but I feel like I can do that live. I think there'll be some live opportunities here. I wonder if I should also move on that money line pre-flop, and I want to have more of an investment in them. So I think that I might add the money line here, probably add the money line, and then start hammering these $100 shots at the Niners throughout the game every time there's a number that is appealing to me. G Martinez on the over, public with you on that over, but this line's dropping. Let's get into the line history here. I'm a little uncomfortable seeing the 2.5. I was very pleased that there was a 3 and there was 3s across the board. Maybe that should be, if this line moves back to 2.5, maybe I only focus on live action here. We have, maybe that might, let's talk it out here. This line opened up at 1.5, minus 106. It moved to 2.5. The 2.5 was juiced up to minus 126 yesterday morning, and it's come back down in a big way, down to minus 115. So we still had a 1-point move and juice towards the San Francisco 49ers, but there's some concern there. Maybe that concern's enough just to keep me clean and only focusing on moving on it live. This total opened up at 49. It went up to 50. I didn't time it perfectly. I got in on the 49, and I said at the time, like, if this goes up again, I'll bet it again. But overall, we've only had 4 cents of movement from the original number on the under, but that still is something. I wouldn't be surprised if this, the public does hammer this over late. The Rams are a public bet, 73% of the tickets, 62% of the cash on the Rams. The total is a public bet, 79% of the tickets and 67% of cash on the over. Why wouldn't it be a public bet? Yeah, I'm on it, Lamont. I'm on it. There's my guy, Troy Torrance, in the house. As I said, he's got the spread in the money line. Why wouldn't it be a public bet, though? We just watched the Rams put up 44 points against the Bills, and we just watched the Niners put up 38 points, at home against the Bears. So it's a very public, both the over and the Rams are public. And again, showers. Now, the showers aren't that big of a deal. There's very little wind. But at times it can, it creates some sloppiness at times. Grando is going to play. He's been dealing with the foot injury. We expect both Greenlaw and Bosa to play. Maybe this line move back is saying that one of them isn't going to play. We know Trent Williams isn't going to play. Let's get into the X's and O's just quickly here. My breakdown with Troy is on our site, and we're here to hear Bobano's breakdown. So I'll keep this very brief. But the 49ers are getting stronger at the right time. They're a very tough team to beat at home. Greenlaw, there's in the 49ers circles, they're like, Drake Greenlaw's coming back to save our defense, to save our season. Bosa, if he's back as well, we saw how much different this defense, this pass defense looks with Talanoa Hufanga back in the lineup. So, this is the time to move on the San Francisco 49ers. They match up well against the Rams if Hufanga is back, which he is. If he wasn't, nobody, everybody would be so concerned that Puka and Cooper and Stafford would go off. Hufanga changes so much, and we saw that last week. The Rams, had dominated time of possession, 38 minutes and 30 seconds against the Bills, and won by 2 points because the defense just struggles. The Bills put up 8.2 yards per play. I think the Niners can get what they want and take care of business here. Take it away for us, Bobano. Coming off 2 wins on last week's Thursday nighter. Bobano was on the Packers plus 3.5 and the team total over 23.5. Take it away for us, Bobano. Rams, Niners.
Easy with those two. Yeah, it was good to see that 2-0 sweep. Yeah, I'm right with you on the Niners. I'm going to go money line, though. I don't want to screw around and, win by 1, win by 2. Just win, baby. Minus 142, I think, looks like the best price. Let me just confirm on that right now. But that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. Yeah, minus 140. Can do just slightly better than that. There we go. Minus 140. San Francisco money line. First of all, let's talk about this from an anti-Rams perspective. And I respect the Rams and McVay. And when Stafford plays like he did against Buffalo, they can beat anybody, and they can win this game if they play like that. But that's almost perfection from the offensive side of the football that we saw from the Rams on Sunday against Buffalo, where they ran the football like crazy. They met Stafford about as pinpoint accurate as you could ask for in the passing game all game. Highlight reel catches from Puka Nacua. That double toe tap on the sideline, stretching out to reel that thing in, was as good a catch as you'll ever see. Unbelievable how incredible that catch was for the Rams in that game. Let's also remember that in that game, it's the ultimate of flat spots, brutal spots for the Bills in that game, coming off a San Francisco snow game win on Sunday night, coming off the bye, and then the Kansas City win the week before that. Detroit on deck for the Bills in that game on Sunday against the Rams. So the Rams, yeah, they played great offensively. One of the best offensive performances, almost a perfect offensive game from the Rams against a team that was in a tricky spot in that game too, the Bills. Now you're asking the Rams off this emotional game where they actually almost let the Bills come back and win that game in the second half, travel on the road on a short week, took a lot out of them, and you're facing a San Francisco team that, look, I lost going against San Francisco. I just thought last week because they looked like they were down and out. But they showed me a lot. And look, you can say all you want how bad Chicago is, but I thought Chicago was going to bring something with Thomas Brown as the interim coach, with the coaching firing of Eberflus, that for one game they'd show up. And I give the Niners credit more than I discredit the Bears for destroying Chicago last week. That showed to me San Francisco is not giving up. They were able to get right. They had a team meeting apparently before the Bears game, and you could see that it definitely made a difference. They're saying, let's get our shit together. We're not quitting on this season. If we get hot here in December into January and we make the playoffs, we win the NFC West, we somehow get in, we're dangerous. And we've been there before. We know how to win in the playoffs. We know how to get to the Super Bowl. So that's probably all the narrative that they're selling. But they sounded like they responded to it. They looked like they responded to it last week against Chicago. You mentioned the health factor. Nick Bosa's back. I'm seeing that Dre Greenlaw is going to be activated here tonight. Huge for the defense. Diamador Lenore, how good is that guy? They just got him back recently in the cornerback spot. Makes a big difference for the San Francisco 49ers. And to me, the key here is going to be the Rams. You know, the receivers are awesome. There's no question about that. But look, they stopped the run. So if they take Kyron Williams away, because they didn't let the Bears run the football last week, if they take Kyron Williams away, make the Ram offense a little more one-dimensional, it could be tricky. And then on the flip side, you look at the situation. I still don't love the linebackers for the Rams going into this matchup. I think Kittle and Jennings can feast on that group here in this particular game. I mean, they've been weak against the tight end all year. I think the run defense is also a little bit spotty, soft against the run they can be. Isaac Guerrero, of course, that's pretty much what they're down to. He is battling an injury. I think that's the one little fear I have in the back of my mind here is Guerrero's health. And do they have to go to Patrick Taylor more running the football as a result tonight? Something to keep an eye on. But the Rams aren't great stopping the run. They were last week, but it's kind of a deal where the Bills just suddenly got behind so big after the block punt that they almost became pass heavy at that point because they were trailing. So I think it adds up both ways. And let's not forget about the little intangible of the 49ers knowing damn well the last time they played this Rams team, what happened? Oh, yeah, we had that game dead to rights. We had the Rams done. They were done in that football game. And the Rams basically just in miraculous fashion in the fourth quarter stole victory from the jaws of defeat against the 49ers. And San Francisco and the whole team, I remember Shanahan, I remember the players after that, they were sick that they lost that game to the LA Rams. Absolutely friggin' sick, as Jim Moore Sr. would say, about losing that football game. And I think that's going to incentivize and fuel the Niners' effort tonight in this rematch even more. So I'm with you. Enough of the jibber jab. San Francisco money line.
You are locked and loaded, my friend. Yeah, the Patrick Taylor Jr. I think I might put together a little SGP for tonight's game. So I do think that is quite appealing what Patrick Taylor will do. I think that Abanikanda might be available. Keyshawn Vaughn. My only concern about Patrick Taylor is I know he's going to be hammered as soon as he's available. Is Abanikanda and Keyshawn Vaughn, or either of them, especially Vaughn, because we saw him with.
We're talking RB3, RB4 because of the injuries, obviously, to McCaffrey and Mason. So yeah, that is
true. So I'm a little concerned that Vaughn will take some of the carries too. So I'm not sure what I'll do around that, but we're all locked together in this one here. So let's roll on. We're going to roll on to college basketball. We only have 17 minutes. We have 7 games.
That's all right. We'll go rapid fire. This card's a shit show to me, but we'll do the best we can with it.
We have to work quickly.
Yep.
So let's get right to work. We also have action from a bunch of cappers in our chat, so we're going to be able to discuss it all. There's one big game, and then a bunch of minnows. Let's go. 7 p.m. Eastern with the Campbell Fighting Camels, 4-5, 2-3 on the road. The Citadel Bulldogs, 5-3, 5-2 at home. We're at McAllister Fieldhouse in Charleston, South Carolina for this one. We have already heard from Morgan Spooner. He's on Campbell money line at -120. I think money line's the best way to look at this line history here. So why don't we do that for this Campbell Citadel spot? We have Campbell right now -115. They opened up at -121. So just a few cents of movement towards Citadel. From a total standpoint here, we have a 134.5. It's juiced to the under. This opened up at 135.5, and it got all the way down to 133 before there was buyback, but still a 1-point move towards the under. When we get to the cash flow for this spot, we have 43% of the tickets and 84% of the cash on the spread on Campbell. Line not really moving. On the money line, we have 72% of the tickets and 64% of the cash on Campbell. 85% of tickets and 83% cash on the over. We saw it drop all the way down to 133. Campbell coming off their third loss in 4 games. They've been off for 8 days. Citadel's been off for 9 days, and Citadel hasn't played against a decent opponent here in a long time. Their last 2 games have been against Div 2 and Div 3 schools. They haven't played against Div 1 opponents since the College of Charleston back on the 20th of November. So we're talking 22 days since they played a Div 1 opponent. It's a confusing spot here. Campbell, again, losing at home in their last spot, but they played a bunch of road games. They went to Ohio State. They beat Navy by 20, lost by 44 at Ohio State, went to Evansville and lost by 13, went to Green Bay, won by 6. So they've done a lot of work on the road here. And then they're coming off that 58-57 loss to Coastal Carolina as 5.5-point favorites. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Game 1 on the board. Campbell Fighting Camel, Citadel Bulldogs.
Yeah, I am on Campbell here, the Campbell Camels, as a slight road favorites here in this game. Citadel is 5-3, but again, that's nothing but sisters of the poor on their schedule. Their best opponent's Charleston, and they got ripped by 15 points in that game. At least with Campbell, they've had to play Virginia. They lost by 9. They were very competitive. They covered the number in that game. They won outright as a road dog at Navy. They did get drilled big time by Ohio State. And I will admit the loss against a very poor Evansville team was unsettling. But they did bounce back and beat Green Bay, a very bad Green Bay team, the way they're going. Doug Gottlieb, oh my God, what a disastrous hire that is. But that's another story. They beat Green Bay 72-60. The guy's still doing a fucking podcast, by the way, and he's trying to be head coach of Green Bay. But again, that's another story. 58-57 loss to the Coastal Carolina in their last game. I like that we get them off a loss now, going on the road. Citadel's a very beatable basketball team. All their wins have been against absolute cream puffs, absolute tomato cans, nobody's. Campbell, to me, is the better team. They're favored on the road for a reason. Campbell, for me, money line.
What is that number you're getting?
Oh, sorry, I didn't even give you the number. Campbell plus, actually, you know what? There's some books that still have +1. So we'll just go money line +105.
+105 for the Fighting Camels. Jose, let's race camels today in honor of the Campbell Fighting Camels. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern with the North Carolina A&T Aggies, 3-6. They've had 6 road games as well, 1-5 on the road. Virginia Tech Hokies, 3-6. They're 3-3 at home. We're at Castle Coliseum in Blacksburg, Virginia. The Aggies have lost 4 straight games. They just played 5 days ago, as did Pitt. So these teams both just played on the 7th. That is Saturday. They all both played on Saturday. The North Carolina A&T Aggies lost to UNC Greensboro Spartans. They were 7.5 point dogs. They lost 67-55. They shot horrifically, 37.5 from the field, 13% from three, and were out rebound. That is the tonic for a loss. We have the Hokies in a massive losing streak. Hokies are playing bad basketball. They opened with 3 wins now, who they beat Delaware State, South Carolina, Upstate, and Winthrop. But they have now lost 6 straight games. And they're coming off a tough one at home versus Pittsburgh. They lost 64-59. They were 8.5 point home dogs. They were up 8 at halftime and couldn't hold on to the victory. Let's get the line history up here for this one. We have this total at 146.5 right now. It opened up at 147.5. It had dropped all the way down to 145 before there was buyback. We still have a 1 point move to the under. And we get to the point spread. We have this at the Aggies as 14.5 point dogs. They opened up at 14.5. So we've had absolutely no movement on it. When we get to the cash flow, we have 74% of the tickets and 63% of the cash on the Aggies. The Virginia Tech with just 26 and 37. Then we have 71% of the tickets and 60% cash on the over. This is a fascinating cap. I'm very interested in it. Take it away, Aggies, Hokies in Blacksburg.
Well, that makes one of us. I'm not. I think it's tough. Virginia Tech's not a team I'm rushing to lay 14.5 with. They've had a real tough time covering point spreads. 2-7 against the spread. I don't like in some of these games that they've kind of gone through the motions. I keep thinking back to, the Winthrop game, the Jacksonville game they lost outright. They have faced a pretty tough schedule here, Virginia Tech. There's no question, but I haven't been impressed with them. Upstate early in the year, they didn't cover that number. But on the flip side, you look at A&T, and the best opponent they've played is probably Wake Forest. They haven't played a ton of great teams outside. I guess George Washington's pretty solid, but outside of that, it's been a lot of tough sledding for them. They've lost 4 in a row. 3 of those losses in blowout fashion, including a couple of them to mediocre teams like East Carolina and Hampton. Not really enthusiastic about backing either team in this matchup and in this spot, so it's a pass for me.
God, I'm interested in backing the Hokies here. I mean, isn't this in the throes of this massive losing streak? Aren't they going to put their foot on the gas and try to demolish this weak Aggies team? Like, aren't we guaranteed that we have an accountable performance from the Hokies here? Isn't that or do we just not trust them from a skill set perspective at all, even though they just played great against Pittsburgh?
Yeah, they did. That was definitely a step in the right direction. Pittsburgh's a pretty solid team this year, quite honestly. It's the potential's there for them to win big, but I have not liked what I've seen consistently from them in these kind of situations outside of Delaware State early in the year, where there was one game that they were, double-digit favorites. They got the job done, 83-60. Other than that, in these spots where they're supposed to roll, they haven't exactly done that. So that's what's keeping me a little hesitant to take VT.
I think I'm right with Super True Story. I really, really do. I think I'm right with you, Super True. I think this is a spot where I'm going to invest in Virginia Tech to try and go out and just, force the issue and dominate this game. Morgan Spoon said,
another thing too that I looked at, that I noticed, North Carolina A&T played another ACC team on the road, Wake Forest, second game of the year, and they covered, and they only lost by 16 there and covered the numbers. So, the fact you were able to go on the road and hold your own with Wake Forest, and to me, Wake Forest is actually maybe a little bit better than Virginia Tech, and they were only down by 6 at halftime. That's another thing that's it's probably Virginia Tech's capable of smacking them down, but will they is the question.
All right, I'm very interested in moving on this one, and I expect to, but I'm going to take a little bit more time.
Like them in the chat. Yep.
Let's roll on to the next spot on the board. We have the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, 2-6, 0-5 on the road to the Virginia Cavaliers, 5-4, 4-0 home at John Paul Jones Arena in Charlottesville, Virginia. We have Bethune-Cookman in a 2-game losing streak, lost 2 of their last 3. They just played at Minnesota and lost 79-62. They were 16.5 point dogs and lost by 17. It was a pretty ugly second half for them here. I apologize if you guys can hear my son crying in the background. Virginia has lost 2 straight games, both on the road. Now they come back home where they've been very good, except for that St. John's loss. That wasn't at home, though. That was neutral. They've lost twice in a row on the road and not look good doing it. That loss at SMU. Now, you're 10.5-point dogs. You lose by 12. But still, they have not looked good. They shot 34% from the field and 41 from 3, which is wild. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Bethune-Cookman, 16-point dogs. They opened up as 16-point dogs. So it's just been a 2-cent move towards Virginia. When we get to the total here in this one, we have a 126, very low total. It's heavily juiced to the over. There's been a 10-cent move to the over at the 126. And then when we get to the cash flow here, we have 71% of tickets, 71% of cash on Bethune-Cookman, 86 and 88 on the over. Take it away for us here, Bobano. We're in Charlottesville, Virginia for a Cavaliers home game against the Wildcats.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see who's Virginia got on tap after this. They play Memphis, so that's a bigger. Put it this way, I'm not laying these kind of points with Virginia. Period. So right away, it's a lean to Bethune-Cookman. Here's the problem though: at Minnesota, they lose by 17. At Tulane, they lose by 15. At Nebraska, they actually were close in that game at Nebraska. They only lost by 5, and they lose by 33, at Texas Tech. So other than the Nebraska game, they have not shown me consistently the ability to step up in class on the road in this kind of a point spread range, Bethune-Cookman. So I was leaning Bethune-Cookman, talked myself out of it. So another pass for me.
Here we have another spot where we have a big favorite. This one's lost 2 in a row. Of course, we talked about the Hokies who'd lost, I think, 6 in a row. Super true story looking at the under. We have the public on the dog because the favorite does not look good. It just, again, feels
As
like
always with Virginia, are they going to be able to fucking score enough points to cover a number like this? They are still a very, very wretched offensive team. I think the under is probably the best bet in this game if I had to do something with it.
And super true story moving on that under. Let's move on to the big one here. 7:30 p.m. Eastern with the Iowa State Cyclones 7-1, their first road game of the year at the Iowa Hawkeyes, who are 7-2, 6-0 at home at Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City, Iowa. We have action from cappers in our chat. Billy Friedrich says Iowa State rolls here. We have action though. We have here. Oh, sorry. Let me get to the action. We have. I guess it's right here. Sorry, I copied and pasted everything all over the place today. I was just moving so quickly. We know that the Res Spec play today is him backing Iowa State. We know this move is moving towards Iowa, and we heard from Morgan Spooner already that he is on Iowa plus 6.5 and Iowa money line. So Iowa State playing their first road game tonight. Home team has won the last 4 matchups in this rivalry. Let's get into the line history.
Remember, it'll show on the schedule that they played at Dayton. That game was not at Dayton. That was in Maui for the Maui Invitational. That was not a true road game. This is Iowa State's first true road game of the season.
And Iowa coming off that 85-83 loss at Michigan. They played on Saturday. Iowa State played on Sunday when they beat up on a minnow. Now, we've seen them beat good teams. We saw them beat Marquette, but Jackson State Tigers, who are 0-10, they beat 100-58. It kind of feels like a nice setup here for Iowa. This total's at 161. It is come up from 159.5, so we've come up by a point and a half. And when we get to the point spread here for this one, we have a 5 right now, -5. This is come up down from 6.5. We have a 1.5 point move towards the Iowa Hawkeyes. Take it away for us here, Bobano, my man.
Yeah, and look, I love me some Iowa State. I think they're a really good team, but I like them at Hilton Coliseum, Hilton Magic, that great home court. I like them more so in a pick 'em or an underdog range. I don't like them as a road favorite in their first true road game of the season in a home-dominated series history between these two rivals. The Cy-Hawk rivalry in basketball, the home teams won and covered almost every game. In my opinion, in the recent meetings. You just look at the last 6, Iowa winning and covering 3 in a row at home, 4 in a row, in fact, here at home at Carver Hawkeye Arena against Iowa State. No, Iowa State's an outstanding team this year and certainly deserve to be road favorites, but It's still your first true road game. They have had some great performances. Absolutely love Lipsy and Gilbert. They're tremendous. Jefferson, Jackson, that Momcilovic too, and the paint's pretty solid. Really good team, and they defend. And Otzelberger's one hell of a coach. And I'm not very high on Fran McCaffrey. I think that guy's horrible. It's definitely a coaching mismatch, but you can't go past what the home-dominated series history. Home team's been the way to go. It is the first true road game for Iowa, and they're laying a significant number because look, they had an almost win against an excellent Auburn team. They beat Colorado down. They beat Marquette down at home. They've had some great wins that have padded this number just a little bit. So I like Iowa here. It's just too many points. I think it's a competitive game. We'll take Iowa plus 6.5 minus 120.
Plus 6.5 minus 120 for Bobano. There's talk with Nutflush Allen and others. Shout out to MMA Locker Room in the House Star, the Locker Room podcast, our most popular show on the channel. Please support it. Big fight coming up in Tampa this weekend. Are you interested? I mean, you're not on the over. Are you interested in the? Would you have been interested in the under?
I could only look over. It's just too high. It's 161. It's just a little high for my liking.
Okay. We have Bobano on Iowa plus 6.5. I'd like to join him on this one. Let's roll on. 8 p.m. Eastern with UT Arlington Mavericks 4-5, 1-2 on the road at the Arkansas State Red Wolves 7-3, 5-0 at home. We're First National Bank Arena in Jonesboro. Let's get into the line history here. We got to work real quickly. We have this side here, UTA plus 9 at minus 108. They opened up at 8.5. So we've had a half-point move towards Arkansas State. It was a full point move, but now just a half point move towards them. And then when we get to the total in this one, we have a 157. It's juiced to the under at minus 114. We've got a 4-cent move towards the under. When we get to the cash flow, we have 70% of the tickets, 88% of the cash on UT Arlington, but this line's moving towards the Red Wolves. 54% of tickets, 49% cash on the over. Take it away for us here, Bobano, UT Arlington, Arkansas State.
Yeah, I like the dog here a little bit. Arlington to me has been a disappointment. I keep looking at this team and say the stats show the positive regression should be coming, that they're a little bit better than what they've shown, the 4-5 start to the season. And what I like about Arlington, though, is because of the slow start, where they get drilled by Louisiana Tech. They lose to Missouri State on the road. They lose to Murray State. The one competitive game was when they went, and I cashed a ticket with Arlington at USC. They lost by 3, 98-95. But all of a sudden, they win and cover at Austin Peay as a small road favorite. They win. They cover against an excellent Rhode Island team that only lost their first game of the season the other night against Brown. At home, they covered the number as a home dog against Rhode Island, this Arlington team. And then they covered as 7-point road favorites against a mediocre Monroe team in their last game. So 3-point spread covers in a row for Arlington. Arkansas State's off the huge win at Memphis, and I loved Arkansas State at Memphis in that game. Memphis is not a trustworthy double-digit favorite. Penny Hardaway's team, with the lackadaisical ways they can show, it was just a great spot to take Arkansas State, but that's a big win for them. And now they're coming back home, laying big points. Suddenly an Arlington team that's playing a little bit better here in recent games. And long-term, going back years, this has been an Arlington team that's always been pretty solid, catching points in the underdog role. So UTA for me, plus 9.5, minus 110.
Plus 9.5, minus 110. Not one person in the chat looking at the Red Wolves. Everybody on Arlington. Justin McKelvey on UT Arlington, plus 8.5. Dominic Mero on UT Arlington, plus 9.5. DC Capper on UT Arlington, plus 9.5. Wow. So a ton of cappers here backing UT Arlington. Bobano on the same spot. UTA plus 9.5. 2 games left before we get into NBA. 2 games left with Bobano. Let's go real quickly here. 8 p.m. Eastern. Chattanooga Mocs 5-4, 1-3 on the road at the Evansville Purple Aces. 3-6, 3-2 at home at the Ford Center in Evansville, Indiana. Let's get into the line history here. This totals at 147.5. It's slightly juiced to the over. This opened up at 149. Got down to 147 before a little bit of buyback to the 147.5. And we get to the point spread. We have the Mocs -2 at minus 108 on the road. They opened up -1.5, so we've had a half-point move towards them. It's been bouncing all over the place. And when we get to the cash flow here, we have no information and no help. Take it away for us, Bobano. Second to last game on the board, mocks per places.
Okay. Whew. If they don't get it done tonight, this may be and I hate doing this because I hate other people doing it, but in this case, I might do it. If the Chattanooga Mocs don't get it done tonight, I think we're swearing this team off for the rest of the year. Seriously. This is a team that was supposed to be very good this year, in my opinion. I like what they brought back in the backcourt, scoring prowess, the ability to defend, be very versatile, all inside, outside game. I thought they had the team to really be solid, and they got off to a brutal start to the year. Now, they did win. They have won 5 of their last 6, but the schedule is what you're concerned about. Tennessee State, there's a Johnson University, which is basically an also nobody, and a weak schedule in this 5-1 run until they played Lipscomb, very good team, and they lost 80-62. This is a Chattanooga team that hasn't been great. That's been disappointing to me, but Evansville is a team they can beat. Okay, because Evansville is not very good in my opinion. Now, it is at Evansville. They do have a 3-2 record there on the home court. But again, they beat Green Bay. Campbell's a decent win. Not a great win, but a decent win. Green Bay's not much of a win because that team is in shambles right now. And then they beat Brescia Bearcats 96-49. So I like Chattanooga. I just think we're getting the better team, and I still think Chattanooga, talent-wise, you match up these two rosters, Chattanooga is a better roster. So I've had some tough luck with this team. They've disappointed me. They've underachieved. When I've backed them, it hasn't gone great, but I'm giving them a shot tonight, and I think they're road favorites for a reason. -120, the Mocs, Chattanooga.
Locked and loaded. Last game on the board. Bobano for us. You've done a hell of a job today, as always. 8 p.m. Eastern. New Mexico State Aggies 4-5, 2-2 on the road at the Texas Longhorns. 7-2, 4-1 at home. We're at the Moody Center for this one. We have the Aggies coming off the big win over the Lobos. You know, a big win over the Lobos is 20.5-point dogs. Just came out firing in that one. We have Texas off a 76-65 loss to Connecticut. They were 1.5-point favorites. Connecticut shot beautifully, 51.9 and 45 from 3. 39-25. Connecticut outboarded Texas. A very, very poor performance there for the Longhorns. Let's get into the line history and the cash flow and then have our guy Bobano take us home. We have the Longhorns -19.5 at -111. Opened up 20.5, now 19.5. We got a 1-point move in the Aggies direction. From a total standpoint, we have a 142.5 -111 to the under. This has come all the way up from 138. We've had a massive move towards the over. Now it looks like it hit a high water mark at 143. We're back at 142.5. And when we get to the cash flow, 79% of tickets, 79% of cash on New Mexico State, 83% of tickets, 87% cash on the over. Take it away for us, Bobano. Last spot on the board, Aggies, Longhorns in Austin.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's lay the points with Texas. I think this is a good bet on for Texas, bet against for New Mexico. New Mexico State just took down New Mexico 89-83 5 days ago in overtime. It was an incredible game. Credit to Christian Cook was amazing in that game for New Mexico State. They also got they got 4 players in double figures. They took down a very good New Mexico team in a rivalry game in overtime at the Pit in Albuquerque as well. So you got the high of that win, maybe a little bit of a comeback down following that for New Mexico State tonight. And then you got Texas at home off the loss to UConn in their last game, losing to Connecticut, where you should want to see them bounce back. Now, we saw Texas lose to Ohio State early in the year, face a lesser team at home, Houston Christian. They didn't cover, but they almost did. You know, they were 33.5-point favorites. They won 90-59 in that game. They were only up 7 at the half. But boy, in the second half, they really turned it on in that game. So, like I said, this is just, I think, a very tough spot for New Mexico State. Texas is flighty. Texas can go in scoring droughts. Texas can get ripped defensively sometimes, and they're not locked in consistently on both ends at times. And I'm not the biggest fan of their coach, Rodney Terry. I think they could do better, you know, from a coaching standpoint. But in this spot, with New Mexico State off the huge win against New Mexico in overtime, no less, on the road. The Pit's a tough place to play. Now you have to come back on the road, play again 5 days later. You got Texas at home off a loss to UConn. So the focus for the Longhorns should be there, and put all those things together. And I will, even though I don't like usually laying points like this with Texas, I'm going to do that here tonight. Minus 18.5, Texas, minus 120.
You are locked in, Bobano. Bobano, I know you got to run. I will review all of your action here. Thank you for doing such a spectacular job as always. Please support our guy, Bobano. He is the Hitting the Books YouTube show, Monday for college football, Friday for college basketball. He's got all of the bowl games up until Christmas Day.
Up until Christmas Day, up on the Hitting the Books YouTube channel, up to and including the Hawaii Bowl, also known as the Degenerate Special of bowl season, Christmas Eve night with South Florida and San Jose State.
Beautiful. Earl Sports Bets, yes, I talked myself into that exact same bet, Devils -1. Let's just get Bobano back. Okay, he's gone for a second, so I'll just get him back for 1 second just to review. Also, yeah. Ice Guys. Yes. 7 days a week. We have the Ice Guys rocking. And of course, the NBA OG show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday on the Ski Profit YouTube channel. Any last words, Bobano, for the Capper Sport in the show?
Just good luck to the chats. Shout out to everyone there. Hit the like button. Good luck this, not only tonight, but the rest of the weekend as well. It's a huge weekend of sports. Can't wait for it. Bowl season starting as well. Jimmy, good luck to you tonight as well. Let's cash some tickets, and we'll see you again next time.
There he is, Bobano. We'll review all of his action at the end of the show, but let's go over his action here. We have Campbell +105. That's also a Morgan Spooner spot. I am very interested in Virginia Tech first half and full game. I'm also interested. See, it's a very interesting situation today. The big favorites are not public at all, which I'm not used to. I'm interested in Virginia. Now, Iowa's a different situation. Bobano on Iowa +6.5. I'm interested in joining them. UTA +9.5 for Bobano. And that's another spot Morgan Spooner on as well. He's also on Iowa, so they're the corner of Spooner and Bobano Avenue on 3 of those 4 spots. Bobano also on Chattanooga and Texas to close out the card. Those big favorites are extremely appealing. You know, they're not public. They're coming off of losses. The 3 of them are all very, very appealing. So I may be moving on it here. But that is our college basketball. Big show picks in the house. We have the NCAA play of the day here for Ron Crawford. That is UTA. Everybody on UTA. Yes, Sir Mackey loves pie. We're rolling into NBA right now, my friend. We're rolling in right now. And we have a lot of action here from Cappers in the chat. Just going to move over some of the best bets. We got a Stacks play of the day that we will be discussing here. We have a three-game card in the National Basketball Association. Let's get right to work here. And let me get this one set up in front of the Kings game. That'll be our last game on the board. Then we'll race Camels. $50 available. Let's roll. It's not been that strong of a year in NBA. I mean, like, not with a ton of volume here. I'd like to start hammering away. Ron Crawford play of the day is the Detroit Pistons here, +12.5. Let's get into that spot here. 7:30 p.m. Eastern with the Detroit Pistons 10-15, 6-8 on the road at the Boston Celtics 19-5, 10-3 at home at TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts. Over the last 5 games, these teams are playing at almost the same pace. We have the Pistons 2-3, 100.9 possessions a game. That's just slightly faster, 12th in the league than the 13th ranked over the last 5 games. Boston Celtics, who are playing at 100.80 possessions a game. The big difference for the Pistons, as they've been much improved, they snapped their 3-game losing streak with that 121-11 win at the Knicks. The big difference is they're shooting. These last 5 games are shooting so much better. And maybe, you know, Cade Cunningham's distribution, I mean, he had a triple-double against the Knicks, is a big part of that. But 48.8% from the field, 41.9% from 3. I'd be interested in that race, Resmob. Very interested in that race. Let me know where it's taking place. Boston 3-2 over the past 5. They're shooting poorly. This is the worst I've seen them shoot in a 5-game stanza in a long, long time. 43.4 from the field and just 34.1% from 3. Let's get into the line history and set this one up here. Move over to NBA. We have already heard from Ron Crawford backing these Pistons. The Pistons right now are at that 12.5. That 12.5 is juiced to the Celtics. This line is not moved. This line didn't come out till just after midnight here, the book I'm looking at, and it's not moved. We've seen it, the big move within 7 or 8 cents, but it's right back from where it started at the minus 110. When we get to the total here, we have a 227.5. That's juice to the under. It opened up at 226.5. We've gone up a point to 227.5. Coin says Detroit has covered this twice already this season, saturated on the over and saturated on the Pistons as well. Jermaine says Boston massacre tonight. Detroit to come down off that high horse, that win at the Knicks. Let's take a look at the cash flow and see if this helps indicate if we've got sharp action on a side here. We have 44% of the tickets and 50% of the cash on the Pistons. This seems coin flippy on the spread. 84% of the tickets, 85% cash on the over. We've seen it come up a point. So let's discuss this. So both teams are very well rested. We haven't seen either of these teams play since last Saturday night. As we talked about, the Pistons snapping their 3-game losing streak. Cade went for 29, 15, and 10. He's having a hell of a season. 23.9 points per game, 9.4 assists per game, 7.3 boards per game. Malik Beasley also rolling, went 7 of 10 from 3, put up 23 points in that victory. Nasty Nate on the Celtics second quarter says Celtics smash. Celtics were last seen having their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 127-121 loss at home to the Grizzlies. I mean, it was a horrific situation for them. That was their 5th game in 7 nights. They haven't lost 2 games in a row all season long. And in that game, they shot horrifically, and it's part of their poor numbers over the last 5 games. 18 of 60 from 3. I mean, it's just wild. Sam Hauser, doubtful. They thought he'd be good to go, right? Adductor strain, he's doubtful. Jason Tatum is questionable. So is Springer and Walsh, but that's not important. I've got everything refreshed here. So we take a look at the latest information on Tatum. The shoot-around's already taken place, so it's still just questionable. I mean, you can expect here by the numbers that, or by the line, that Tatum will be good to go. I think we would have seen a line change if he wasn't. This is I don't see an edge here. I think this is a sharp line. I do think that the idea that the Pistons will come back smashing back to earth is not quite as big of a deal because there's been 5 days in between that Knicks win. If they're going again 2 nights later, I find that game to be a situation where they could fall back down. But I just don't see the edge. I think it's a tight line. Saturated says Celtics have no reason to cover the 13. I can understand that. I mean, they are coming off of a loss, though. Again, with the break in between, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't really feel like anything is appealing enough. I would expect the Pistons to be in this basketball game here. And we still have the public, 56% of the tickets on the Celtics. So the Pistons is a slight possibility here. And again, I think the most important factor in the Pistons is the 5 days off. I might get to the Pistons. All right, let's roll on here. Next up for us is Raptors Heat, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Raptors, of course, coming off their third straight loss, 113-108 at home versus Knicks on Monday. It was a well-played game, but it was overshadowed by the injury to Scotty Barnes, who's going to be out at least a week with the sprained ankle. He's been so good. 20.6 points per game, 7.4 assists, 8.4 boards. I mean, he's impossible to replace. There's certain times when, a player gets hurt and you're like, well, this team's going to step up in that first game without their star. But he does all the little things. He does all the intangibles. This is a spot where we're all like, look, we want to enjoy. There's the fans in this. They want to enjoy basketball right now. Now, yes, anytime Barnes is out of the lineup, that's going to give us a better opportunity for the number 1 draft pick. But God, it's just horrible watching this Raptors team without Barnes on the floor. We're already without Emmanuel Quickley, who's been out since November 10th. RJ Barrett, yeah, it's great. He goes for 30 against the Knicks, but good God, when push comes to shove in these basketball games, he's sloppy. He makes poor decisions, and I don't enjoy watching him play, to be honest here. So Toronto 2-3 over their past 5, 102.9 possessions game. That's 8th in the league over the last 5, and they're shooting 46.7 from the field, which is much better. But they're always around this 34% tile in 3-point shooting. They always seem to struggle at 3. And then we have Saturated says lots of drama in Miami. Says who wants Jimmy? It is interesting. I don't see why they need to do anything here. They've won 3 straight. They just beat the Cavs on Sunday. Jimmy Butler is listed as probable with right knee soreness, and that was as of last night. Let's just make sure that that is still the case. I've refreshed all of this here, and yes, probable to play here, and he's played in 3 straight. I don't see the, I wonder how much is to this whole, Jimmy's about to get moved situation. The one thing that the Heat just continue to do is uncover gems. I mean, it's just the reason why this franchise has been so strong over the last few years. They have another one in Drew Smith. He's played the full fourth quarter in the last 2 times they played, and he's looked great. And then don't put past here the fact that the Raptors won in Toronto last time these guys met, 119-116. It was just 11 days ago. Moneyball says another Raptor could cover spot. Justin McKelvey looking at Barrett over 5.5 assists. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one, because again, I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, first game with the star player out of the lineup." Watch Mitchell, Dick, Barrett, Agbaji, and Pirtle show out. Barnes just does too much for this basketball team. This total's at 224.5. It's minus 109 to the under. It's come up from 222.5, so it's come up 2 points. On the point spread here, we have Miami minus 10 at minus 107. They opened up at 10.5. It's not a real. Tatum ruled out, says Joey Marinaccio, the Dapper Capper. Jeez, this lines must have moved already here. Let's just see if. Wow. Tatum ruled out. Oh, yeah. Just moved 1.5. Wow. You'd think it might move more. Pistons are plus 11 now. Wow. Wonder if this has moved too much now. Rick J says Raps have scored well versus Miami twice this season. God, this is just going to keep moving. Now it's 11. Oh, God, I wonder if I should just move on the Pistons right now. God, how can they not? I mean, I know that Brown will roll, but I think this is enough for me. I'm going to move right now on the Pistons at plus 11. I'm going to move right this second here. I got to get this in. I know this is not the most enjoyable programming when this happens, but I got to get this in right now. I do believe that this is a spot that should be attacked. In the break between games, it just tells me that this isn't a letdown spot here for them. So let me get this in here quickly. If you guys don't mind, must bet immediately here on the Pistons. Great job for you guys on that 12.5. I will take the 11 straight. So sorry, let me just sorry about this. I know this is not the most enjoyable. Here we go. But money talks, man. Okay. All right, we're in. We are in. Okay, sorry about that. We're in. Okay, we roll on. Thank you, Justin. Yeah, money talks. Nasnate says Celtics by 16, which look, I was close to do it with Tatum in. Now with Tatum out, I want to take advantage of it. Let's roll on though. Here we have this, and what Rick J is saying is absolutely true. I do think that it kind of hurts the Raptors that they played the Heat so well this year. But again, do you want to sit here with needing the Heat to win by double digits? That's the question. Raptors coming off their 3rd straight loss. Let's talk about the Raptors here. 2-3 over their past 5, shooting poorly, coming off their 3rd straight loss, 113-108, where they look very good. They have RJ Barrett running everything for them now. 23.6 points per game, 5.8 assists, 6.6 boards. Their only road win this year, one road win, was November 27th at New Orleans. The Heat come off their 3rd straight win. Is this a letdown spot? it might. You know what? This isn't the. This makes me a little uncomfortable. Tori says my take: Heat win, but they don't cover. I think that is a legitimate spot. Legitimate spot. I'm gonna stay off of this. It's funny because my first instinct was to go up against the idea that the team was going to step up, with their star player out, but it's uncomfortable. Saturated on the over. I mean, that makes sense with the kind of defending, especially at the perimeter and the one that we're seeing from the Raptors. I just don't know what they're going to do here without Scotty, and I don't want to put my money on it. Let's move on. Let's move on to the final spot on the board here. 8 p.m. Eastern. Sacramento Kings 12-13, 6-6 on the road. New Orleans Pelicans 5-20, 4-8 at home. We're at the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. We get to the Stacks Play of the Day number 1. Our guy Justin is on the over 231 in Kings Pelicanos.
Stacks, 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 stacks. Stacks, 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 stacks.
Let's get into the line history here. Kings are -7. They open up -5.5. So we've just been continually moving towards them right now. It's a pick 'em, but a 1.5 point move towards the Sacramento Kings. Get to the total here. This total is at 231.5. It's juiced to the under. Opened up at 231.5, got up to 232.5, and it's come back to 231.5, juiced to the under. Let's get to the cash flow here. From a cash flow perspective, I don't think I said it in the Heat game. So let's just quickly, in that Raptors Heat game, 20% of the tickets, 23% of cash on the Raptors. Line not moving. 83 and 81 on the over. Here in the Kings game, we have 72% of tickets, 72% cash on the Kings, and the line moving towards them. 71 and 79 on the over, 231.5. Robert Pulliam looking at New Orleans first quarter. We got Robert McCormick in the house. Great to see you. Saturated on Herb Jones over 11.5 points. Moneyball giving us final score of Kings 119.5, Pelicans 111.5, which would then give them the cover. Let's discuss this spot here. We have Sacramento playing 14th fastest pace in the last 5 games. Pelicans a little bit faster, 102.6 possessions a game. That's good for 9th. The Kings are shooting the ball incredibly well right now. 50.2 from the field, 41.1 from 3 over the last 5 games, something that they weren't doing going back 2 or 3 weeks ago. Pelicans are 1-4 over their past 5, shooting 44.3 from the field and just 30.6% from 3, something we can probably get used to here. I mean, if it's not Trey Murphy shooting the ball, I mean, they went 13 for 38 in that loss, their 11th and 12th games at the Spurs on Sunday, 121-116. The Kings coming off their 3rd win in 4 games, 141-97 at home over the Jazz on Sunday. I mean, I just don't want a basketball team that's coming off shooting that perfectly, and then they go play the Pelicans, who are 4-8 at home. They went 22 of 44 from 3. McBuckets and Herter each went for 6 threes each. They've scored 281 points over the last 2 games. And now it's been going on for a little while. They're averaging 127.2 over their past 5 games. It just doesn't appeal to me here. Rick J says Sabonis covered first quarter over 5.5 points, 7 straight games. Kings like to get Sabonis going early in road games. That makes a ton of sense from Rick J. Makes a ton of sense, that spot here. For the Pelicans, Trey Murphy went for 25 points. He hit 4 threes. And Coach Willie Green, he's come out and said that the goal for the Pelicans right now is to shoot 40 good-looking threes, 40 quality threes a game. And so he's like, we shot 38. That wasn't bad. And they're allowing 122 points per game over their last 4. And they swept the Kings last year. So, will the Kings have added motivation? It's possible. Lamont Williams, my man, thank you so much for rocking with us. Love it. Thank you for sharing your action. Moneyball says Kings have been on fire a bit. Is this a spot where they're going to be here? I find it hard to believe, that they're just going to keep shooting spectacularly well. Now, they were at home in that last one. I mean, have they been home here now in back-to-back spots is the question. Let me grab this here quickly. We have my guy Millz in the background here backstage dancing. Millz, man, what's going on? Are you making moves on any of these spots, Millz?
Man, I mean, we is talking about one of my teams, which I only have one in the NBA, and that's the Sacramento Kings. So in there, I will be looking at Domantas Sabonis over his point prop. He's been able to hit this at a 60% clip. Earlier on to start the year, Sabonis wasn't dropping those 19-point games. The Kings wasn't really able to get into that real form. We were one of the better scoring offenses the last 2 years, averaging about 118 points. This year, just haven't got there yet. Added a new addition with DeMar DeRozan, but I really love Domantas Sabonis in this spot to go over his point prop at 19.5.
All right. So we have the Sabonis over. Was that a D-row over as well?
No.
Just
No.
Sabonis over 19.5 points. So you guys have put up 281 points over the last 2 games, shooting the ball unbelievably well. We're just supposed to sit back and expect that to continue?
Man, it's one of those things. You hope as a Kings fan, and this is the thing, man. The Kings right now, we haven't been able to shoot threes. DeMar DeRozan doesn't shoot threes. So by us, I think we need Hoarder to keep doing what he's doing, Malik Monk to keep having those games that he's been having. That's been the key to additions of us in these last 2 games to get into that damn near 300-point mark. And it's been Kevin Hoarder and Malik Monk. Keegan Murray, my guy, third-year player right now. Man, he's been having like a slow 2 weeks, haven't really been able to go over 14 points in this couple of games. So the key man additions been Malik Monk and Hoarder. Remember when Fox was putting up like damn near 40 points? He still got that going too as well. But can we keep the shooting going up against the New Orleans Pelicans? I think so.
This is the type of situation against going up against a team that's 5-20 that I would expect, some lethargic
So Jimmy,
play.
You want to know what you need to do on this? I know this off firsthand knowledge, man. The Pelicans kind of owe my Kings. If you guys probably looked up their record within the last probably 3 or 4 years, they probably got a winning record over us. It's one of the teams that they just seem to beat us. Whenever we're favorites in, we don't cover. So I'm looking at the points with the New Orleans Pelicans. I'll be honest with you, man. As of late, I couldn't trust them, even though we're on like a 3-game win streak. Before that, I was on Memphis Grizzly money line. I was on the San Antonio Spurs the first 2 games that they played. I lost with them the 3rd time. So until the Sacramento Kings can really prove to me, go on like a 7-2 game win streak. Houston damn Rockets is doing it. You know what I mean? So until they do something like that, I'm not trusting them to cover no spread at all, but I do lean to a little bit the over on the points.
Man, even when they went up against the Suns, I mean, it's kind of an easier situation. They played well throughout the game, 126, 124. But I mean, it's a Suns team without KD. I mean, and then against the Thunder, they didn't play too badly, but they looked horrible in the first quarter. They got outscored in that first quarter 35-23. They were 7.5-point dogs. They lose by 10. And the game was kind of done at halftime. It was a 77-51 lead for the Thunder. So maybe that's not a good example here. And then they're coming off that game, both teams, playing 4 days ago against the Spurs. And that one, they looked great in the first quarter, 34-28. I find this is the type of situation I would like to not believe that the Kings are going to just continue this incredible shooting. And if I believe that, then I would probably take the Pelicans first quarter. And if I do believe that in a bigger way, I could take the Pelicans race to 20 for a huge score, which I will be deciding here. Okay, I'm very interested in not expecting the Kings to keep shooting as spectacularly well that they have. Moneyball also saying the Kings got the Nuggets after this game. So interesting stuff. Millsy moving on, Sabonis over 19.5 points. Mills, we have cappers in the chat asking if you're making moves on the Thursday nighter.
Yeah, man, actually, yeah, man. I'm looking at that spot a little bit. Player props that I like, I'll go over a few. I like Princess Nakua to go over 7 receptions, hitting at an 80% clip. Last game out, he put up over double digits out there. This is the thing, man. You remember Cooper Kupp, how he used to get those receptions? Now it's all him on Nakua, man. He's definitely that guy, man. Number 17, he catches the ball over the middle of the field. Unlike Mike Evans, he doesn't run out of bounds. If he's running over the middle of the field, he's going to keep running, man. He's going to take a hit. Amazing catches. That's what he did in the last game. I like him to go over his reception prop. And then I'm going to be looking at, man, George Kittle over 4.5 receptions, man. I think that's the way to get paid out here. The linebackers for the Rams are good. They do cover, but they're going to be worried about Juwan Jennings in there. So I actually think George Kittle should have a good game and go over his reception prop and give me Isaac Coronado, whatever you want to say it, man. I'm taking him over 1.5 touchdowns today.
Oh, wow. Over 1.5 TDs for Isaac. That's interesting. Look, so you have Guerendo. You have no issues with the foot ailment, because this is a huge opportunity for him to be RB1.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, he was even putting up stats. I want to say when we first got that opportunity, when they had Mason or whatever the dude's name is in there and stuff, and Coronado was coming in there and getting big runs. That's the thing. When he gets in that open field, not like a Chris Johnson, but man, he gets speed and he gets up that field real quick. So I actually think, yeah, man, he could definitely get in that end zone 2 times today.
You are locked in here for over 1.5 touchdowns. I can't wait for this game with Guerendo. We have Kittle over 4.5 receptions, Nakua over 7.5 receptions here. Rick J saying Kings not beating the Pelicans in so long is a big deal in Sacramento. That angle we talked about Pelicans sweeping them last year. I think that's probably enough to get me off of that first quarter. I mean, yes, I believe that the Kings aren't going to shoot that well, but they still have a reason to, be locked in. So I'm not sure that, there's an important note here. Mills, we have UFC Tampa coming up this Saturday. The Locker Room podcast out right now. Going to be our highlighted video throughout the week. Talk to us about the event in Tampa.
Yeah, man, you got 13 fights on this card, headlined by Colby Covington, the fighter that everybody loves to hate or loves to make money with him, taking on Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley's going to be a big favorite in this one, minus 260 on the books. The podcast, hey, you got to listen, man. You got Billy planting his flag on the underdog again. He likes Colby Covington in this one. I think Joaquin Buckley should be able to get the job done. I don't agree with the price tag. I think it's a little bit too high for my liking, but I still think he gets it done. So we gave out a podcast parlay for you guys to get paid, because last week we hit it 5 different ways for you guys. Only lost 1. So in this one, we started off with the core. We gave you guys Miranda Maverick and Manel Cape. So we gave you those 2 legs, and then everybody added on additional legs. So we call it the parlay parachute. That's what I'm gonna be playing this week out here, man, from the Locker Room podcast. We got a lot of people playing flags this week. One of the podcast members planted their flags on Adrian Yanez, plus money underdog. We always interviewed him over here at Pup Sports Radio. So one of the guys planted their flags on him. But besides that, yeah, man, over here at the live stream, we're going to be giving out $100, man. All you got to do is sign up for the UFC Pup Sports Radio contest. It's on the website. Hit the link right there. If you guys are in the chat, how many? 1, 2, 3, over 200, over 133. Man, all you got to do is sign up right now. It's free. Sooner or later, you're probably going to see a link from Big Show dropping it in there. But yeah, man, that's what we're doing out here, man. It's Christmas in December.
I love it. We don't have enough followers on the Locker Room Talk podcast X handle. I'm going to pop it in the chat. 437 followers. I'm following them. Please support our guys. It's our hottest show on the channel. We have our contest up, $100 up for grabs. Pub Sports Radio contest, the Locker Room Talk podcast YouTube breakdown there. And there's the X handle for BSP MMA. Millsy, thank you so much for rocking with us, man, giving us a little action here to close up our show. If you have any time tonight, we'd love to have you jump on our live stream if you're available. We'd absolutely love that. But excellent work on the Locker Room Podcast. Love seeing you guys flourish on that one. And thank you for rocking with us. I'm also going to put Millz' X handle here in the chat. Please support our guy, Millsy. Any last words for the Capper Sport in the show?
Yeah, man. I mean, it wouldn't be right if I didn't come up here and give you a hockey play since you know, one of the best hockey cappers out there on the internet today. Take Nazem Kadri to go over 2.5 or 3.5 shots on goal. He's taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning, man, and he's been able to do this for us at a 60% clip. I really like this guy on Calgary Flames. I even liked him on the team that he played before like 2 years ago. But he's one of those guys that just goes out there and gets his shots up on goal. So I'm taking Nazem Kadri over his shots on goal. That's just how we do here, man. Jimmy the Bag. Shout out to everybody watching with us. Shout out to the chat because all we do is cap and cash.
I love it. There he is. MMA Millz in the house. Kadri, I think he's going to be picked up by the Dallas Stars at the trade deadline with all the extra money that the Stars will have. I've not heard that said anywhere, but he just seems to be that perfect fit for the Dallas Stars. All right, it is time to race. Then we will review all action, but let's fucking race, man. Let's race. Let's bring on my co-host here in Betting with the Bag, our friend Snips Bouquet to the telecast. We have a big Cappers contest show popping off in an hour and 22 minutes. Jose, how are you?
Excuse me. I'm doing good. I can't complain. Excited for the Cappers contest show. It's going to be a fun one.
It is. We did go 1-4, unfortunately, in the Cappers contest. Now we can fix that with a 5-0 board sweepage, which is the only chance we have is 5-0. Now, if we went 4-1, it would still give us a chance here. But very disappointing. I got crushed this week too, so it's not good. Not good. But you know what will make things better, Jose? Camel racing. Camel racing will make
it always
things better.
does.
It always does. How many? Thank you so much to all of our gold members. How many gold members do we have, Jose?
81 gold members here ready to race. Camel jockeys, hard to find, but all 81 have them.
Oh, good. Yeah, you don't want to have a jockeyless camel. Thank you so much for all. Preston says better than last year at 0-5 still. Yes, Preston, but it was a very upsetting weekend, man. I really wanted us to have all this excitement and hope around the Cappers contest, and we need to sweep the board, or at least 4-1 at the worst, to have hope here. Big Show Picks, wishing good luck to Big Show Picks here. $50 on the board. Let's camel race. Let's fucking camel race indeed. Firing out of the gate is old Jose Bouquet. And speaking of Preston Echdal, there he is. The top of the screen. MMA Mad Hatter, Jeff Slaughter, Chris Boggin, Gerald Jones, all in the mist. Our guy T Moss in there, a good golfer I've heard. Kent Davies also in the mix, but Chris Boggin at the top of the screen, now falling backwards quickly. Jimmy, who's taking this home right now? Justin McKelvey making a big move there is T-Moss as well. And here comes Jimmy the Bag and Dabby Cab firing. Crystal Craig right up there. Crystal Craig making a huge move. Like, so Saturated trying to get to the front. Wow, we're getting down the wire, and Saturated is taking the lead. Saturated trying to come home with that enormously long neck. Can Saturated get to the wire? Because Jeff Slaughter has something to say about that. So does Not Flush Allen. Saturated trying to get to the wire. 5.
Oh, my God.
3, 2,
Oh my God!
Slaughter wins. Oh, that's exciting.
Man, I thought it was Nasty Nate's time. I was looking at Nasty Nate the whole time. I was like, oh my God.
Wow, but that means $100 up for grabs tomorrow. Jim Dewigger says rigged in the right ways.
Yeah.
Because that means there's $100. No, it doesn't mean money staying in Jeff's pocket. $100 now up for grabs tomorrow. We have $100 horse race. I love the $100 Fridays. That's fun.
Yeah. Can't wait.
That's fun. Well, Jose, stick with me here. We have $100 up for grabs tomorrow. Let's review all action here on the card. LJ from H-Town on the Predators, team total under 2.5. Ron Crawford, NHL play today, Philadelphia Flyers, NBA play today, Detroit Pistons, and the play of the day here for So that's NHL and NBA. The play today for college basketball is UTA, Arlington. Justin McKelvey, stacks play today, Kings and Purdy over 1.5 touchdown passes, minus 117. The nut up or shut up skunt bag plays of the day, Habs money line, Wild money line, Pelicans money line. Nate Dogg 420 on the Leafs minus 1.5. Austin Matthews goal, Nylander goal. So I've been waiting to see how much juice can drop on this Ducks first period plus a half. Right now, it's still at minus 120. I expect that will be I just wanted 5 cents off. I got the 5 cents off. I expect that to be fine. Also, that means if it moved 5 cents there, that Pinnacle will probably be offering me. Oh, sorry, not supposed to say, but probably be offering a decent number there. I'm also interested in this under 6 in Ducks Leafs. Interested in it. And Jim DeWigger just finished digging out another 3 feet of snow south of Buffalo. Wow, it's wild how close we are in proximity, and yet there's no snow here. I'm glad that you got out of it. And I love Buffalo. Sir Mackey loves pie says, let's go Ducks. Let's talk about Habs. I was very interested in Habs. I'm not going to take them after the Penguins lose 6-2. But I would lean in that direction. Bobano on the Habs, Skunt Blaster on the Habs, and Hudson power play point is the corner of Slatsy and Bobano Avenue at plus 425. Rodney Barton gave us Pelicans plus 7, Campbell minus 1.5, Iowa plus 5.5, and UT Arlington plus 9.5. UPK Yash Yala, Robert Cherry gave us Canadiens, Devils, Leafs, Jets, Oilers, Panthers, Blackhawks, and Avalanche. BJ's best bet, 49ers money line. Troy and I on the 49ers, Bobano on the 49ers. A lot of love for the 49ers. It's not all 49ers action because we do know that Wager Detective on the other side with the Rams, and the public is on the Rams. So it's just us as a group, really. Bobano on the first period over 1.5, and Devils team total over 3, and Kings Devils. I'll be betting Devils minus 1 here. And I wanted just to get the confidence talking it out. We heard already from Nicholas Earl, that he thinks it's the best bet on the board. I like it. Razor Sharp Picks gave us his full Aqueduct card. For anybody joining us late, this is the Razor Sharp Picks Aqueduct.
Can I give you a horse of the day as well?
Of course.
Yeah, Razor alerted me of this horse. I don't have my phone on me, so I can't bring it up, but I bet it here. Obviously, Jimmy, you know how I operate with horses, and it's gotten me paid before.
Mm-hmm.
It's not our friend Martin Drexler. Shout out to him. Hope he's doing well. It is Gulfstream Race 8. It's a beautiful horse. Is it a mare? Is it a stallion? I don't know. But its name is Venezuela is Gold. Wow. And that horse is going to take home a little championship race title today here. Venezuela is Gold. The 8 in race 8 at Gulfstream. 5-1. Take it to the bank.
I like it. I like it. A very interesting angle, just focusing solely on names with no other cap.
Well, I can assume by the name, I know its lineage. Venezuela, I mean, obviously. So, come on.
No, I get it. And the Venezuelan jockeys have been taking over the...
Yeah, we run this shit. We're small and fast. That's what the people say about me.
Bobano on the Flyers, team total over 3 and the over 6. I'm on the Flyers minus 1. Should have waited for Kolosov to be announced. I didn't think he was going to be announced, but Bobano on the first period over 1.5 in Washington, Columbus in the full game over 6.5. I'm off that spot. Bobano on the Blackhawks plus 168. He's on the Sharks first period plus 146 in the full game plus 182, and he's on Dylan Holloway goal plus 300. I'm on Dallas puck line plus 130. Bobano's on Dallas Stars team total over 3.5. I think it's time to move on the Dallas Stars futures. I'm going to do that. I'd like to do that today. Vegas plus 106 for Bobano as well. And then we have Bobano on the over 5.5 in Oilers, Minnesota. I'm going to add the Oilers minus 1. Bobano on the Avalanche team total over 3.5. I'm off that one. But I'm on the Lightning minus 1 at plus 108. Bobano on the over 3.5 and the over 6 at minus 120. I'm on Florida minus 1 at plus 108. That line's moved very quickly in my favor. Bobano on the Panthers team total over 3.5 plus 118. Bobano on the first period over 1.5 in Boston, Seattle in the draw plus 314. I'm off of that spot. The respect play of the day from Res Mob is Iowa State minus 5. The Gamblers first glance from Razor Sharp Picks is the Niners minus 2.5. Mills gave us Naku over 7.5 receptions, Kittle over 4.5 receptions, and Grando over 1.5 touchdowns. Bobano on the 49ers money line. I'm on the 49ers minus 2.5, and I'm also on the under 49 Very pleased to see that 48.5. But I know the public will come in and start hammering that over, but they're not doing it yet, or at least the books don't care yet. Robert Franklin also with us on the 49ers -2.5. When we get to college ball, I'm going to have to sit with this. I got an hour and 14 minutes before our Cappers Contest show starts, but these favorites are very appealing to me. Virginia Tech, Virginia. I'm going to move on to Iowa, but Virginia Tech, Virginia, and Texas. 3 favorites that aren't public at all, that are all coming off losses. I find it very appealing. Bobano on Texas -18.5. He's also on Chattanooga moneyline, UTA +9.5, and he's on Campbell +105 for Bobano. And then in the NBA, it's just going to be Pistons +11 for me. I got in later than you guys. I got the 11 though, and that is still 11 right now. I probably should have moved on at 12.5, but it is what it is. So, Kong says, "What is your best bet today?" My best bet today would be the very best bet. I think for risk reward. For risk, I mean, I really like Tampa Bay -1. I really like Florida Panthers -1. But I think for risk reward, it's Dallas Stars on the puck line. +130. I got it's now +120. But I also think that the 49ers are close, very, very close. Tori Coker, thank you, my man. Action Jackson, the truth teller liking the Rams too. Okay, good. We got truth teller too. Sean Pulliam, Kong's Clips in the house. Let's give a shout out to our guy. Kong's Clips, 100 units in college football. What a monster. Jim Dewigger, glad that you got out of that snow. Most in the house. Sir Mackey loves pie. Kelly McKinnis, what a great group. Saturated, Preston Ekdahl, AOD, Rick J, Justin McKelvey, Jermaine on Fox under 2.5 threes. Moneyball, thank you guys all, man. Robert Martin rocking with us. Handoff game, 2 completions. It's a great group. Very thankful for the opportunity. Gerald Jones, JR, Andrew G, Lamont. We're going to see you guys here shortly. Very, very shortly, we will be rocking in the Cappers Contest show in an hour and 11 minutes. I can't wait to go over the whole card again once more. And we need to go 5-0 to have some hope. 4-1 will give us a tiny bit of hope, but 5-0 is what we need desperately. Jose, it is great to see you, my friend. I'm looking forward to cap with you here shortly. Can you please put a bow on our show and leche us into the future?
Yes, I hope everyone has a good few hours and then comes and rolls right back with us on the Cappers Contest show. Christmas is coming near, so come on down. You can win some money with us. Join the Cappers Contest show because we need votes. We appreciate you guys all very much. Again, don't forget Pubapalooza 4. March, once we defrost, it'll all be coming here soon. Get your flights down early, shack up with some of your buddies in the chat, and good luck to everyone in here. Leche, be los bookmakers. Let's go.
Pub Sports Radio is very excited to announce the dates for Pubapalooza 4. The most exciting weekend of the gambling year. Round 1 of March Madness. It's all going down in San Antonio, Texas at the Southtown 101, Thursday the 20th till Sunday the 23rd. It's going down, baby.
Scheduled events every day that weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's all going down in Southtown 101. Come hang out with some of your favorite Pub Sports Radio personalities.
I can't wait. Meet us in Texas, baby. It's going down.